Another day, another blunder from Twitch. I'm getting more and more convinced that there's no human beings behind these awful decisions they've been rolling out recently. It's just AI generated bad ideas that get automatically added to the site. It is embarrassing. I feel like Twitch is going the way of MySpace. You know, like maybe Tom is behind all of this in an effort to sabotage another company. It's wild. So let me break it down for you. Yesterday, right when I started stream, I was made aware of a new feature that I didn't opt into and couldn't opt out of called elevated chats. Elevated chats are their answer to YouTube streaming's super chats, which are paid messages viewers can pay for to have stick on top of the stream so the streamer can see them easier. They've been around on YouTube streaming since the start, and now Twitch is trying to compete, and to me it sounds like they're getting desperate, they're sweating bullets, and they're like, fuck, copy everything, we're going head to head, nuts to butts, give us everything YouTube's doing, we're throwing it on Twitch now. Horribly. Like, the implementation is awful, the pricing is a scam, it is just downright terrible. But even beyond that, it shows a complete lack of understanding for what people actually want on the platform. They're not addressing any of the problems the streamers or viewers have. And instead, they're just trying to find more ways to monetize poorly. They recently announced that all partners are going to 50-50, 70-30 is going to be extinct, a thing of the past, like the fucking dinosaurs here. They hit it with a meteor because they're doing everything they can to be more profitable. And I guess in doing so, they're trying to find ways of making up for that. So incentivizing more ads, which is a worse experience for the viewers and also more cumbersome for creators because no one wants to be running ads. It just makes streaming overall worse. And now on top of that, they've introduced elevated chat messages, which is just another revenue source for streamers that no one really wants. People aren't asking for more ways to monetize. They're asking for less ads. Like, that's one of the number one things they need to address. You know, elevated chats can work, I suppose, like on YouTube, super chats are fine, but the way Twitch has rolled these out is already terrible, and it's not something people want. They're just missing the point. I forgot to show what an elevated chat looks like in the stream clips I'm about to show you, but let me do that now. So an elevated chat is a message a viewer pays for, and it can go either on top of the chat, like it does on YouTube, or beneath the stream video, but only if you're outside of theater mode and not on mobile. It is such a dumb fucking location. I don't know who thought of that. They must have been like very close to overdosing on Xanax to think that was a good spot for a message. The streamer can't actually see it, and neither can viewers unless they're like out of theater mode on desktop. It's so dumb. Let me show you. This is from Pinta's stream.
Real draw. Oh god, you can link clips in it.
If you blink, you may have missed it. This is $5 to put this message here in a spot where no one's even going to notice it. You're just paying money to be ignored and never seen. It's the exact opposite of an elevated chat. It goes underneath the stream in most cases, so just banished to the shadow realm. And it's $5 to keep it up for 30 seconds, and it goes all the way up to 2.5 minutes for $100. Their pricing makes no sense at all. I'm sure you already figured out a massive flaw here, the big plot hole, the loophole. Why would you pay $100 for 2.5 minutes when instead you can get 2.5 minutes by just paying $5 multiple times? Let's go ahead and get down into the algebra here. You know, you don't really need a mathematics degree. For 2.5 minutes, you could just buy 5 30-second slots. So you'd pay $25 for 2.5 minutes as opposed to paying $100 for 2.5 minutes. Fucking mind-blowing. It's like they didn't stop and think for even a brief moment about this system. They just rolled this out as quickly as possible. I legitimately do think Twitch is watching all of the videos and all of the tweets people are saying about the platform, and a lot of people, like Ludwig, have called out the bloat at the company, how Twitch has so many engineers and yet they haven't rolled out any features in a long time. The most that Twitch has done for features is just take them away, like getting rid of hosting, for example. They haven't really brought anything new. So I bet they started to get a bit concerned, like, holy shit, you know, he's right, they're all right. We're not using our engineers for anything. Get them on a project, please. Give them like a summer reading homework, you know, a little book report. Have them just drum up some kind of monetization idea, I don't care what it is, and we'll throw it on there tonight. And this is what they came up with, elevated chats. Just to justify the existence of their massive engineering team. Like, hey, no, look, they're actually doing something, guys. Look, here's an elevated chat function that didn't exist yesterday. It's just terribly done. The idea itself isn't horrible because super chats are pretty good on YouTube. They work well, like they're effective. But how they've done it on Twitch is so much worse, it is laughable. Now let me go ahead and show you when I went over all of this on stream last night because, like I said, I had no idea it existed until I started stream. So they actually did make a super chat. So that's supposed to stay somewhere for 30 seconds, but it's immediately gone. Where does it go? It goes below your stream. How the fuck am I supposed to see it if it's below the stream? What? I don't even see it below the stream either. And it looks like it's $100 to keep it up for 2.5 minutes. What? This isn't even a meme. The only use I see for elevated messages is to make an advertisement for yourself under the stream for 2.5 minutes. Because there's nothing else. Because I literally can't see it myself. Unless I have my own stream open. Why would anyone buy the 2.5 minutes for $100 when you can just buy the $5 30-second message multiple times and save yourself a ton of money? Did they think this through at all? Like, legitimately, was there a single ounce of thought behind this system? There is legitimately no reason at all why anyone should use the system, because as a streamer, I can't even see the elevated chats. They're only on the stream and underneath it. So I don't even see it. And B, if you're going to use it, why would anyone ever, unless they are just absolutely huff and glue, do $100 for 2.5 minutes when they can just do the $5 for 30 seconds multiple times? It doesn't even show unless you're out of theater mode. Yeah, no, this is an absolutely terrible, terrible system. Oh man. Isn't that what YouTube had? Isn't that what YouTube has minus the duration? So YouTube has super chats, and with a super chat, it goes to the top of the stream and it stays there for I don't remember how long, but it goes to the top of the stream where anyone can see it. They just click above the chat. This only the elevated message only shows up underneath the main stream and only when you're not in theater mode. So I don't see it in my chat. I can't see it anywhere in my chat. So it's literally the exact opposite of elevated. It goes under the stream. In the most inconvenient location. This says you can put it above the chat. Where? I guess I didn't go all the way down. So is this something I activate on my end? No. It looks like Twitch decides it. At the top of a chat, at least that makes more sense because it's in line with super chats. The pricing is still outrageous and completely nonsensical. But at least then the elevated chats can be read by the streamer. Whereas at the bottom of the video, that's impossible for anyone. But it looks like I have no say in that, unless I'm missing something. Throughout the duration of the experiment, participants will see elevated chat appear in one of two places. It just makes it sound like it's going to be random. And looks like I got the below video one. Did they make an announcement about this? Because I didn't hear about it until I started stream and someone in chat was like, what the fuck is this? Oh, wait, here it is, right here. He doesn't even see elevated chat. It doesn't come up in my chat. Apparently they're testing two locations. One that makes sense, which is the top of the chat. And then one that is just a nonsensical scam, which is bottom of the video. And I like how even for this, they don't show you the example because they know it's trash. And it looks like I have no say-so in which one I get. And this is the one I got. Oh no. Oh. I saw it come up in chat. Bro, you just did $100 elevate chat. I really hope that you found that $100 on the floor or something. Because if I didn't just catch that going by in the chat, I wouldn't have seen it at all. Don't do that. That just hurt my feelings. It's a good message too, man. Oh no, no, don't fall for the Twitch scam. Can you disable it, bro? I didn't even elect for it. No, I can't. I didn't even know it existed. No, the bits and everything, all those pop up and work as normal. It's just the elevated chat. Like it's not even like an activity feed option for me. If a mod deletes your elevated chat, you don't get a refund. Oh wow. That's brutal. Another thing I think that's worth mentioning that I didn't bring up on stream is that this clutters the actual chat so much. So let's break down all of the new things that pop up in chat aside from just people talking. You have bits that pop up in chat. Those have been around for a while. Those are pretty normal. Nothing too big there. You have highlighted messages, which you pay channel points for, so not real money. You pay channel points, it highlights your message and like bolds it and puts it in front of other messages. And now you have this, elevated messages, which appear in the chat for a really brief time before just finding their grave, like a fucking coffin, underneath your stream. So now you have three things all popping up in the chat that clutters the fuck out of it. It just makes the chatting experience worse for viewers. It's just not a good implementation here. It just seems like they are genuinely desperate to try and like get streamers excited about the platform, knowing that most people were very disappointed that the 70-30 deals are going away. So streamers that never had a 70-30 deal will never get one, so they feel insulted. And streamers that were on the 70-30 deals are insulted that it's going away. So it just, Twitch has put themselves in a lose-lose situation, and them trying to like make up for it is making the platform worse for it. Like, it's just so backwards. I don't understand how they are so mismanaged. No one is steering this ship appropriately. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. Way too expensive, way too half-baked. It's just not well done at all from Twitch here. Just a big L, unfortunately. That's about it. So yep, another day, another shitstorm. I have been glued to every piece of internet drama that's been unfolding over the last 9 days. I wake up every morning, eat a strong, nutritious breakfast built for a growing boy, and immediately start scrolling the cyberspace just to see what new chaos is erupting and more shit burning to the ground and falling apart around us. I've been so hyper-focused on internet drama, I didn't realize that there's a hurricane about to hit Florida pretty soon. And when I learned that news, the number one thing I was concerned about is internet outages and not being able to keep up with drama. I feel like I'd fall behind. Like, if I even miss a day of being online, I'd all of a sudden have like an entire book report's worth of shit to catch up on. It's just non-stop drama every single day, it seems. And today's no different. I'm like Pac-Man eating those little pellets forever, because it seems like this drama truly does have no end. So I actually want to start here with the first story that I failed you on. I didn't even mention this one in my last drama update, and it's one that I've been following. It's just I've been so inundated with so many stories all coming at me at once that somehow this one slipped through the cracks. This one's particularly wacky. The CEO of G2, which is a massive esports organization, tweeted out this video partying with Andrew Tate and Andrew Tate's brother. At least I think that's his brother, I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to recognize him without Andrew's dick in his mouth. But he tweeted this video out and immediately faced huge backlash for his association with Andrew Tate. In response to all the criticism, Carlos, the CEO, tweeted this out. "Nobody will ever be able to police my friendships. I draw my line here. I party with whoever the fuck I want." So Carlos went big man mode. He puffed out his chest, planted his feet, and flexed his pecs and said, "You don't get to dictate who I party with." And then the next day, he completely folded on this tough guy facade. The strong man, big guy routine didn't pay off very well, because the next day, G2 announced that Carlos would be taking an 8-week-long vacation unpaid. So Carlos then had to make a post kind of apologizing for everything and announcing that he was going to be stepping away as CEO for about 8 weeks of unpaid leave. But I will give Carlos credit here, he did not delete his tweets. So that's pretty fucking epic, I guess. For the second time this week, as I was rendering this video, another massive bomb just dropped. An update to this story. Carlos just announced he's stepping down as CEO of G2. He filmed a farewell video that was pretty heartfelt and he was teary-eyed, so it doesn't really seem like this was his decision. It doesn't seem like he's really wanting to step down as CEO of G2, so it really seems like he was kind of forced to after all of the backlash from his Twitter video partying with Andrew Tate. G2 is a massive esports org. It's one of the biggest, legitimately one of the biggest. It was started by Carlos, and now he has announced he's stepping away from it. Now, the whole backlash on the partying video he posted, it wasn't just like Twitter people being upset or anything. This cost G2 greatly. They lost their position in the VCT, so they're no longer in the upper echelon of the Valorant esports scene. Valorant just recently franchised, which means it all went to dog shit immediately. It's terrible. It's absolutely garbage. They only allow a specific number of teams to come in there, and the way they decide that seems like just throwing darts at a board, and it's completely random. It wasn't just G2 that didn't make this cut. FaZe didn't make it, TSM didn't make it, Optic didn't make it despite being one of the best fucking teams in Valorant. Like, it's a real head scratcher how they fucked it up this bad with their franchising. It's a terrible thing, but the reason G2 didn't make it, at least the speculative reason why G2 didn't make it, is because of Carlos's Twitter video where he was partying with Andrew Tate. And that's a really big deal because Valorant's one of the biggest esports games in the world right now. It's estimated that a spot in the VCT costs anywhere from $10 to $15 million right now, based on what I've read. So it was a big blow to the org, and it looks like they may have strong-armed him into stepping away. They posted this tweet about the situation saying that they received and accepted Carlos's announcement to step down as CEO, and then the next paragraph highlighted that they don't support any form of misogyny or anything like that. So it really does seem like the driving factor for why Carlos is now no longer associated with G2 is for that partying video with Andrew Tate. So what a wild development there. Now the next little bit of drama isn't that serious. It's people that believe my G Fuel flavor, Divine Peach, is too good. They think that my G Fuel flavor is just way too tasty and they can't get enough of it. And people were a little upset that the hydration formula of it was sold out, but I've got great news. It's back in stock. So we can put that drama to bed, and right now G Fuel is doing a sale and code MOIST is working. It's live, it's hot. So make sure to use code MOIST at G Fuel in order to get money off your order. And the Divine Peach flavor for hydration formula is back in stock, so make sure to pick up some Divine Peach. The link's in the description below. Let's move on to the next story here. This one I just now learned about, and I find it pretty interesting. So, there is a YouTuber named Dan Allen who recently exposed himself as the insider that was leaking confidential gaming information on Twitter. Now, leaking information for upcoming games is usually a pretty serious thing because those are protected by NDAs that people sign. Non-disclosure agreements are legally binding. They are like actual big shit, and to break those is a pretty serious thing, and it seems like Dan Allen has now opened himself up to potential legal ramification from all of this. It looks like Ubisoft is going to be taking a strong stance against him, and I'll let him explain the situation a little bit before diving into it more, but in a nutshell, Dan Allen was trusted with information, a lot of it confidential information, and he made an alternate Twitter account called The Real Insider, where he just openly leaked all of it. And this is his response.
If you're not familiar, what's happened is I created a alternate Twitter account called The Real Insider, and started leaking things. And a lot of you are reaching and saying, well, why the fuck did you do it? And to be honest, it's clout, it's the buzz, it's being addicted.
Clout is more valuable than oxygen these days. Clout has driven men to do the most extreme things imaginable, and Dan Allen is yet another victim of his own hubris in that never-ending quest for more internet points. So, he did it for the fame, the glory, and now he is facing legitimate problems from this legally.
So, it all began when Dan Allen made the grave mistake of not switching to his other account, The Real Insider. Instead of responding as The Real Insider, you can see he responded using his Dan Allen Gaming account. No, someone else, he tweeted, and shortly after, the tweet was deleted with Dan Allen realizing his mistake.
Yang Ye's video goes much more in depth on this situation than I will, but I just needed you to see how he got exposed here. He fucking went into public and pulled his pants down, and he didn't have nearly enough time to pull them back up before people started laughing at him for it. He, on his alt account, The Real Insider, made a post, and when replying to a comment, did it on his main account, the Dan Allen account, which immediately connected Dan Allen to The Real Insider, thus exposing him as the leaker that was giving away this confidential information. Just such a goofy way of getting caught here. There's no like cool story behind it or anything. It's not like Batman catching the Joker or whatever. This guy just made the simplest mistake ever, forgetting what account he was on when making this post. And now it's taken a huge toll on not only his YouTube career, but like I said, he could be facing legitimate legal action from the developers that have trusted him with this information that he violated by posting it on Twitter. So that's where that one's at. And speaking of leaks, here's a little update to the Grand Theft Auto 6 hacker who leaked like 90 clips worth of GTA 6 footage. It seems like they may have been arrested. There was a statement put out that a 17-year-old was recently arrested in the UK for suspicion of hacking. They won't go into more detail, but it seems like this could be the GTA 6 hacker. I'd also like to hit you all with a fat I told you so, because when I posted my video about the GTA 6 leaks and the hacker, I said Take-Two is fucking ruthless and they would sick the goddamn Avengers on this hacker. They will go to any lengths to make sure they catch the person behind it, and I said they're going to get the FBI involved, and they did. The FBI was investigating this case, and it looks like this may be the hacker that was responsible not only for Grand Theft Auto 6, but also the Uber hacking. And they're not releasing the specifics, they're not confirming if this is the same person, but all signs do point to this being the individual responsible for that. And they're a 17-year-old hacking prodigy, it seems here. So I just wanted to put this on your radar, considering this is something that is a very big deal. It's by far the biggest leak in gaming history. And even though this isn't fully confirmed yet, it is looking like this is the person responsible. Now, in more serious news, there has been a rather large update on the sexual assault situation on Twitch, as well as the potential cover-up of the sexual assault involving big streamers. Last night on stream, Destiny played a recorded Discord call where Mizkif and Mitch Jones were present and being pressed on, why would you cover up a sexual assault, and just trying to get to the bottom of everything and just really pressing them on all of it. To break it down to the bare bones, a streamer by the name of Adriana Lee was sexually assaulted while passed out drunk by another streamer named Crazy Slick, and after this situation, big streamers like Mizkif were accused of trying to downplay it, to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal. Maya was also brought into it and accused of gaslighting Adriana into believing it wasn't that big of a deal. Mitch Jones was brought into it, doing something similar like downplay the situation. And this Discord call that Destiny played on stream was Mizkif and Mitch Jones defending their positions or talking about the situation as a whole. And it's around 3 hours long, so it's a long conversation. But overall, it's fucking horrible. It is an absolutely horrible situation. As I've said numerous times now, this is not like goofy drama. This is serious shit. And this call, I think there's a lot of reprehensible shit that gets revealed. I'm not going to go too deep into specifics. I recommend you check out Destiny's video if you want to listen to the audio yourself. So yeah, a huge development there, and I think that about wraps up the drama report here. I think this is about all of the stories that have happened over the last 24 hours. So that's about it. So yeah. I don't understand what's going on. Perhaps the ozone layer is fully withered away, but instead of being blasted by intense heat and sun rays, we're being blasted by drama right now. It has been about 8 days of non-stop crazy shit happening all across the World Wide Web. I'm not a meteorologist, but I'm just going to make a prediction that this isn't the last of it. The rain will continue to pour until it floods. It's like the movie Snowpiercer with that perpetual motion train, the train that never stops. That's what we're in right now, except our train is powered by drama. So we have to keep shoveling drama into the train like coal in order to power it. With the rate all of this internet drama is going, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow I woke up to an Instagram live of Mark Zuckerberg unzipping his fucking face and revealing that he actually is a reptilian lizard man. It hasn't even been 2 days since I made a full breakdown on all of the Twitch drama, and already 1,000 new things have happened over there. But that's not even what I want to focus on with this video here. I just want to talk about the last 8 days worth of stories that have come out outside of Twitch as well. Because it's not all localized to Twitch situations. However, I would argue that this was the patient zero here. This was the genesis of all internet drama over the last 8 days. All starting with Shit Camp. That was like the nexus event for us. And from there, the cup runneth over. So all of the controversy that started on Twitch started leaking out elsewhere like a plague. And then all of a sudden, drama from all places on the cyberspace, the cyber realm started to surface. And it's just been almost indescribable. It's like reading a book, and by the time you finish it, the sequel has come out. And then by the time you're halfway through the sequel, the next sequel comes out. And then before even getting to that follow-up third entry into the trilogy, the fourth and fifth book have come out on the same day in a surprise double drop, double fist. It's just overwhelming, almost daunting to try and get a handle on all of it and keep up. Like a toilet that blew up and now it's just spewing shit nonstop. So let's just go ahead and start with Twitch, since I already made that video breaking it all down and a lot's changed and a lot's evolved since then. So I briefly mentioned a very serious thing that happened on Twitch involving sexual assault, a potential cover-up, all kinds of moving parts to that story. That's not something I treat as goofy drama. So again, I'm not going to go into super big detail on that whole situation, but I will say that story has had a lot of twists and turns to it, where now all of a sudden the focus isn't even on the victim of the sexual assault or the perpetrator accused of committing it. It's now shifted entirely to big streamers just pointing their fingers at each other and calling each other names and throwing as many debate term buzzwords at each other as they could possibly muster. And it is just kind of a mess. I, again, don't really treat this super lightly, so I'm not going to talk too much in detail about it. I'd recommend listening to Adriana Lee, the victim of the case, and get it from her. I know that was pretty brief and a bit vague, but I think that situation is one that is very serious and deserves to be treated with quite a bit of respect. And in this video, I'm just going over a lot of wacky shit that's going on. There's nothing wacky about all of that. So moving on, let's get into something that is wacky. Twitch killing itself. I made a whole video yesterday talking about Twitch's new policy update and how it could very well bury the platform, and only a few hours later, there were already big streamers talking about how they most likely won't stay on Twitch should this new policy go into effect. One of the biggest ones is Jerma. Jerma is one of Twitch's most creative streamers. He does some of the best events the platform ever sees. He has a massive audience, and this is what he had to say in response to the Twitch announcement.
If I am forced to run ads on this platform, I will leave this platform. 100%. So I'm not going to be forced to run ads. Now, here's the thing. Ads do play, pre-rolls play, and I don't really have that much control over that. I do have control over if one essentially runs while you're sitting here. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to run ads.
Jerma's not alone here. Most streamers feel this way. Being forced to run ads sucks ass. No one wants to do it because it's intrusive to the content, it breaks everything up, and it's a terrible experience for your viewers. No one likes to be running ads. The people that do it, myself included, are contractually obligated to. For me, it's 3 minutes per hour. For most streamers, it's around that same as well, maybe 4 for some of them. But yeah, everyone hates running ads. It's like Garfield hating Mondays. It fucking sucks. And now Twitch is putting a much heavier emphasis on it, and like I mentioned yesterday, I'll briefly recap. Twitch put out a statement saying that they're getting rid of the 70-30 revenue split with streamers. The 70-30 split was the streamer gets 70% of subs, whereas Twitch gets 30. That was a deal they were offering to their top-level streamers. I would imagine most, if not all, of the top 200 streamers on Twitch were likely on this 70-30 deal, and all of them were used to this split. And they announced that that will no longer be the case going forward. It will be dropping back down to 50-50 in the future. And they also made it clear that they'll never do the 70-30 again, which means all of the streamers that never had the 70-30, who've always been 50-50, won't ever get to experience it, which is just another slap in the face to them. And I argued that by doing this and driving away their top-level streamers, it'll motivate them to go to a platform that has that 70-30 deal they're used to, like YouTube. YouTube has a 70-30 split. It's standard for all of their streamers. And the Twitch streamers that are the top level ones, that's what they're used to. And when their contract ends, they might just take that because it's an overall better deal. And the ads on YouTube aren't nearly as intrusive, so it's a better viewing experience for their fans. So, why would this kill Twitch? Well, it's because Twitch is an extremely top-heavy platform. According to a 2020 statistic, the 0.1% of Twitch streamers control 74% of all the watch time on the entire site. This is a 2020 statistic, so it's a little old. I guarantee you that number is much higher. The top 0.1% control much more than 74% of the watch time on the site now, I imagine. But to go a little bit deeper on how top-heavy Twitch is, the top 1% of streamers are streamers that can average 51 viewers, at least. 51 viewers. If you get 51 viewers, that puts you in the top 1% of the entire site. That's crazy. That is That is insane. I don't know if you're as blown away by that number as I am, but I think that is wild. So going by the 0.1% controlling 74%, you'd have to imagine that the top 1% control like 99% of all the watch time. You know, those viewers aren't trickling down to like 1 or 2 view streams. It's just not happening. They're staying with the larger streamers. So once those larger streamers are driven off the platform with this terribly greedy idea from Twitch here to take 20% back from their revenue split that they're used to, once they're driven away, where are those viewers going to go? Normally what would happen is one big streamer leaves and some of his audience follows him, but some of them just stay on Twitch because it's what they're used to, and then they just go to the second most popular streamer in that same category. But let's say more than just one big streamer leaves and now it's 2 people in that category. Well, now they're starting to run out of options because clearly these viewers aren't trickling down to the smaller streamers that are less than 50 viewers. It's just not happening, clearly. And I think a large part of that is currently their pre-roll ad system. I think Twitch themselves is hurting their viewership for smaller streamers because, as I've mentioned twice now, no one's going to click on a stream they're unfamiliar with and watch 6 ads before getting to see the content and figuring out if it's a streamer they even like. They'll get those ads and immediately leave, and now that small streamer has lost that viewer forever. They probably won't come back. And it's not their fault. Twitch put those pre-roll ads there. So, like, they're not even able to share these viewers on their own platform because of their own ad practices. So if the top streamers start leaving, the ads keep piling up, making it a worse experience to stay there, the viewers are going to leave too. They're going to follow the streamers they're used to on whatever site they go to because now Twitch is just in the dumps. The streamers they like aren't there anymore. If they try and find a new stream on there, they're just inundated with ads, so they'll just go somewhere else. And I don't think Twitch fully understands that, so I truly do believe that this will have a massively detrimental effect on the platform. And this is just the latest unfolding. Germa's not the only streamer threatening to leave. Nick Paulum also talked about, focusing on maybe doing YouTube. Code Miko mentioned it. There's been quite a few large streamers that are talking about, maybe looking at other options because they're not confident in Twitch's ability to actually stay a good streaming platform anymore. So the signs are there. The cracks in the armor are there. It looks like Twitch's reign as king of streaming is soon to crumble should this actually go through. And that's the update there. There was also a false flag operation of drama that happened this week on Twitch. You may remember not too long ago, there was a streamer who went live and just fucked on stream. She received a 7-day ban for having sex on Twitch, which was just outrageous. And she came back, and a couple days ago, clips started circulating on Twitter again saying that she fucked again on stream. But what actually happened is, some people just released the director's cut, the extended cut, Snyder cut of the first time she fucked on Twitch and claimed she did it again. So people were a little misled there. She still only fucked on stream once, but she may do it again any day now. But right now, it's just once. Now let's move on to some butt plugs and anal beads. This is the follow-up to the Hans Niemann versus Magnus Carlsen cheating allegations, where a large part of the community is talking about how Hans Niemann may have cheated against Magnus Carlsen in a tournament where Hans Niemann beat him. Magnus Carlsen's the best chess player in the world, and people have accused Hans Niemann of having anal beads in his asshole that vibrated to give him the best moves to use against Magnus and defeat him. They believe that there was a chess bot programmed into a butt plug that was firmly planted into the colon of Hans Niemann during their match that basically just gave him the cheat code to beat him. After these allegations came out, the two met each other in a tournament where Magnus Carlsen forfeited against him immediately after the second move, thus continuing this soft accusation of cheating. And today, Magnus Carlsen was finally directly confronted about it. They asked him straight up, "Why did you resign against Hans Niemann?" And he said he'd like to give his opinion on it and say why he did it, but he can't yet. And then towards the end of the interview, I can't show you this because, like I said, chess is very cutthroat with their copyright. Towards the end of the interview, he lays yet another breadcrumb in the Hans Niemann cheating accusation. At the end, he said he believes Hans' mentor, Maxim Delugi, must be doing very good. Now, Maxim Delugi is a chess player who was accused of cheating. And as I understand it, was even kicked out of a tournament, mid-tournament, for cheating accusations. His name kind of lives in infamy. I was unfamiliar with this player until this interview, and I was reading up on them. It's a player that has a lot of controversy surrounding him and cheating. This obviously got the chess community pretty fired up here because that can't be a coincidence that he would name drop that player knowing his history. So everyone believes that Magnus Carlsen is gearing up to finally speak about his thoughts on Hans Niemann and his play, whether or not he's cheating or this and that. So that's the latest little scoop there. And now let's move on from everything Twitch related. Anthony Fantano versus Drake. The Melon versus Drake. Anthony Fantano is the biggest music critic on the internet, and he is hated by a lot of people for his opinion on music, including artists themselves. But none have embarrassed themselves quite to the same level Drake did. So Fantano made a joke saying, Drake sent me a DM with a vegan cookie recipe. And in response, Drake, he doesn't want to look sensitive. Like, he's not a vegan. Are you kidding me? This is a man's man. He'll fuck a girl's pussy while also fucking her butt at the same time with his double dicks. Like, he doesn't want anyone thinking he's sending vegan cookie recipes to Anthony Fantano. How soft can you be? So, in response to that joke from Anthony Fantano, Drake himself leaked his DMs, and what he actually said to Anthony Fantano is this. This isn't Photoshop, this isn't smoke and mirrors, not make-believe, not clickbait. Drake himself posted this on his own Instagram story, thinking that it was like a slam dunk, but it just bleeds insecurity here. This is clearly a reference to Anthony Fantano himself, the light to decent one thing, so it shows that Drake actively watches him. And I really get the impression Drake just scrolls through Twitter and reads all kinds of opinions about him, because he always seems so hurt when someone doesn't like him. It's crazy how insecure Drake comes across from time to time, and shit like this is so embarrassing. What a fat fucking L. I can't believe Fantano has beef with Drake, and that Drake is playing ball with it somehow and doing such a poor job of it. So, I mean, this story's not super deep or anything, it's just really goofy and I wanted to bring it up. Another thing that came out only a couple days ago is Adam Levine of Maroon 5 having an affair with an Instagram model, even going as far as to ask the Instagram model's permission to name his upcoming baby after her. Now, apparently there's more than just one person that he's allegedly had an affair with or cheated on his wife with, but the only one that I've seen come forward with a lot of stuff is an Instagram model named Sumner, and the texts, the DMs, have gone viral as a meme format because this guy flirts like a fucking Redditor. Don't just take my word for it though, listen to this silver-tongued devil yourself. It's truly unreal how fucking hot you are, it blows my mind. You are 50 times hotter in person, and so am I. Ha ha ha. And then you also have this timeless classic. This one is what's become a big meme on Twitter. Holy fuck. Holy fucking fuck. That body of yours is absurd. Bro, that body it makes no sense. Bro, that body straight up goes wacko mode. Your body is a scientific anomaly for which I cannot calculate. It makes no fucking sense to me. I can't empirically prove why your body is so good. And then of course you finish strong. This is like mid-nut. I may need to see the booty. Fuck. Adam Levine really channeling his inner pirate there. About to plunder that booty. And that's where the story's kind of at right now. It's only been 2 days here, so that's still developing. But anyway, these are the main stories. There's been quite a bit more than this, but it's not huge stuff nor goofy stuff. This has just been the main things that I've been following and seeing. So I just wanted to at least bring everyone up to speed here, give you the little update here, and that's about it. See ya. Do you think YouTube gaming is becoming a serious competitor to Twitch? Yes. I think it's always been a serious competitor to Twitch. The main thing it's missing is discoverability. But even still, it's a very viable competitor to Twitch. But you need to have a pre-established audience to make it on there. You can't really start as a streamer on YouTube. It just won't go well. I'm pretty sure Ludwig just made a Mogul Mail about it, didn't he? Let me see his take on it.
How's it going, boys? Welcome back to Mogul Mail. Before we jump into this, we have to figure out what we're going to name today's video.
Oh,
what
smart.
Weird dystopian title will the wheel decide for us today? Let's go.
I know the answer, unfortunately.
YouTube is killing Twitch.
Spoilers are in the title.
That just happened you might not know about. Starting with one that I feel like is not really on people's radar if you're in my sphere of creators. FaZe Swag.
Yep, I knew it.
Which is a real name that Swag
I'm
picked.
fucking omniscient
By the way,
here.
Not Swag Anyway, FaZe Swag had an announcement.
Right.
My next chapter, the whole thing.
Okay.
Actually, no. Maybe the most successful jump in the first week I've really ever seen.
Again, a lot of that can be attributed to the hype. When Ninja first went to Mixer, His first week or 2 weeks of streams had almost identical viewership to Twitch, if not higher. And then as those people start to like try the platform out other places, they leave. I'm not saying it will happen to FaZe Swag. In fact, there's a good chance it doesn't. It's just hype train, you know? It's new, it's fresh. There's a new toy in the toy box. Everyone's coming to check it out. So they're on YouTube streaming for the first time ever, watching their favorite streamer. He goes offline, they leave, and then maybe they don't come back next time he goes online, you know? It's just, again, you never know the longevity of it when you make that switch. But it works for Doc. I think Doc actually held the same viewership as he did on Twitch. I think he still holds it. And Ludwig is also still in the exact same viewership almost as Twitch. I'm pretty sure it's the same. Yeah, it's mainly for creators who already use the platform. Like I said, you're never going to do well starting as a streamer on YouTube.
I didn't.
You just have to have the
I
audience
just want to
already.
be clear that
There's also one thing Ludwig mentions here that I didn't really expand on too much when I was talking about it on stream, but I want to just briefly mention it here. The chats. Twitch chat is just an objectively better experience than YouTube chat. Full stop. I don't think there's anyone that would argue the opposite. YouTube chat just doesn't function nearly as well. I'm not even talking about like chat culture, like Twitch chat culture versus YouTube or whatever. I'm talking about purely from a functional standpoint. YouTube chat is just an unreadable mess most of the time, and it just becomes such a fucking chore to try and keep up with what's happening in any given YouTube chat. It's terrible. Now I know Ludwig has his own program to solve this and make the chat better, but just from like a base standpoint on streaming platforms, YouTube's chat is a lot worse than the chat that Twitch has.
is coming over, which I think adds to YouTube's gaming strategy of getting people who are in the same ecosystem, right? So they want like, you know, Saikuno, Lily, Leslie, and then they want on the other sphere like Tim, FaZe Swag, Dr. Disrespect, so that people are
super
moving
smart
over, communities are moving over, rather than what seems to happen when large creators leave is they all just go to the next biggest creator in the group.
Yeah, the buying the whole community is the best thing you can do, which is what Mixer failed to realize. So after Ninja's crew, like when Ninja goes offline, there's no crew for them to go to anymore. So all those viewers are now homeless, left out in the rain with the dick in their hand. So they just go back to Twitch. Whereas YouTube's strategy is buying everyone who's already like adjacent. So that way, okay, Leslie's gone offline, but Lily's gone online, so now they stay on the platform. They figured it out. Like that was the optimal strategy. And it's working pretty well.
Spamming Ripticos every single. I've had enough, man. No, I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. I've had enough. I can't even. I'm not even. I'm leaving.
No way.
I'm done. I'm done. In fact, I'm honestly, dude. I'm not even gonna. I gotta take a break from streaming, dude. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, bro.
And then
Yikes.
he changed his Twitter account name to
Oh,
user not found.
so that's the clip everyone's talking about. People said he melted down at the end of the stream and called it quits abruptly and left and hasn't come back. He's going to YouTube. The spoilers, like 100%. There's a 0% chance that this isn't just more fucking awful marketing here. He's just going to YouTube. His contract just ended. Hey, this is Charles from the future here. So I was half right with this prediction. You know, I wasn't fully Nostradamus or anything, but I was kind of right. Ninja announced that he's going to every platform for streaming. He's going to be simultaneously streaming on all of the platforms, and that does include YouTube, so kind of right. It's like half a W. The only platforms he's not streaming on, unfortunately, are DLive and like Rumble and shit, I guess. So he didn't go to the really niche, odd ones, but he chose most of the major ones. It's just the YouTube has terrible discoverability, so no matter what you're doing or how good you are, you're probably not going to find an organic audience from YouTube streaming alone. Have all the people you knew were moving to YouTube announced that they're moving? Yes. Now everyone that I knew was moving has moved. Everyone else will be a surprise. Though I didn't know FaZe Swag was moving. I'm just not familiar with FaZe Swag in general.
Nothing necessarily.
Don't LSF clips include YouTube? Yeah, of like the popular YouTube streamers. Is there an LSF clip from a YouTube streamer that isn't already a popular YouTube streamer? The LSF YouTube clips are Ludwig, Dr. Disrespect, like Valkyrie. It's not just from random people.
I was kind of last few months not going that great. Whew! And then I switch over to YouTube, and here's my stats. Over the course
Oh,
up
not
until
bad.
August, I averaged 21,500 viewers. The last month I averaged 29,000, in part because I had Mogul Money Live and I only streamed 44 hours. But, you know, I'm generally hovering around what I had on
Damn,
Twitch.
44 hours fucking phoned in.
the-
What are these hours? God damn, not a single month of like 160? Jeez, he's lost the drive, bro. Ludwig's heart's not in the game anymore. Fucking 44 hours in a month? He's on autopilot. He said, all right, I'm out. You'll see me once a week, maybe, pussies.
I think there is a bag to be gotten. I think not talking about it is like absurd. I think pretending that people who switch to YouTube aren't getting paid is dumb. But it's also YouTube. It's not fucking Mixer. YouTube is a much bigger site than
Hey,
Twitch.
don't use that
30
name in
years from
vain.
now, YouTube will be around, probably not Twitch. Like realistically, websites don't live that long. YouTube's shelf life will be a lot longer.
I mean, he's not wrong. Yeah, I think Twitch needs to really focus on making meaningful updates and stop embarrassing themselves. Because he's really not wrong. Twitch isn't like highly profitable. Like they do turn like a good profit, but in the grand scheme of like the most popular sites, they are way behind. They are way behind. So many ads, more than television by far. Depends on who you watch. Most Twitch contracts are like 3 minutes per hour. I don't know when the last time you watched TV was, but I can tell you it is about 8 minutes per 30 minutes. Alright, full disclosure, I was a little off on these numbers here, so I decided to double check. I went through multiple sources, and it seems that the average for major network television commercial density is 15 minutes of ads per any hour-long block of programming. Now, on more independent channels or less major networks like the not huge big boys, it goes down to about 11 minutes of ads per hour of programming. So between 11 and 15 minutes of television is ads per hour. Whereas on Twitch, I think the highest contract for ad density is 4. So at the absolute maximum, you'll experience 4 minutes of ads on Twitch per hour, whereas on TV, you're experiencing 11 to 15 per hour. So yes, Twitch is a lot better with ad density than TV. However, the issue on Twitch is their ads are extremely intrusive. They have these things called pre-roll ads where if you click on a stream, you'll just get blasted by like 3 60-second ads. Like it's random really how many ads you're going to get hit with when you click a stream before you ever even get a chance to watch the stream. It happens pretty much no matter what. Unless the streamer happened to have just run an ad break during their stream and you get lucky and choose that time, then you won't get pre-rolls. But 9 times out of 10, when you click on a stream on Twitch, you're getting ads before getting the stream. So they're extremely intrusive and turn a lot of viewers off immediately. And this is where YouTube has an absolutely massive advantage over Twitch because the ads aren't nearly as intrusive. They do still have pre-roll on YouTube, but the difference is they're skippable. You have like one skippable ad before a YouTube stream starts. That's so much better than getting fucking 3 or 4 unskippable 60-second ads on a Twitch pre-roll. Like, it's night and day. YouTube absolutely shines in this area. YouTube also has mid-roll ads that a streamer can choose to run, but again, they can be skipped, you know? On Twitch, you'll get like a fucking, you know, full-blown 8 ads, none of which can be skipped. So YouTube absolutely blows Twitch out of the water here. You know, I can click on a YouTube stream, I get one pre-roll ad, I skip it, and now I'm already watching the content that I was there for. Whereas on Twitch, I get ads every time I click on a stream. And it immediately kills my desire to watch the stream. It's not the streamer's fault at all. It's a Twitch problem. There's just no reason why you should be hit with ads when you're just trying to watch a streamer. Like, let's say you're trying to find new content. Your favorite streamer goes offline. You're looking for another streamer to watch, and you find a smaller streamer. They have a really, you know, interesting title. You want to watch them. You click it. Bang. 5 ads. Well, not many people are going to sit there and watch all 5 ads for a channel they're not even sure if they're going to like, so they'll just leave. It would improve the service so much if pre-roll ads just didn't exist. Or if Twitch just made it more like YouTube where you can skip the ads. It's a problem that just shouldn't exist and currently doesn't exist on YouTube. Again, there's very few viewers that are going to click on a new stream that they're not even familiar with and actually sit through the pre-roll ads to find out if it's something they'll enjoy. You know, no one's going to be there pumping their fists like, yeah, The Sandman on Netflix, yeehaw. Oh shit, is this Arby's? Another ad. Whee! Oh my god, yet another ad. Let's go. Oh, now the streamer's here.
That YouTube has right now, it's not who they are signing or who they're not signing. It's that they're not getting enough people switching over without signing. And I don't think we're going to see that change for another couple of years until YouTube has upped the things that they're falling behind on. Or
yeah, just discoverability in chat.
Twitch does what they keep doing best, which is nosediving a bit on products, and the only products are really
Fucking
rolling out
true.
is trying to get people to run more ads and stream more hours.
Another thing you mentioned that I also think is a good point, all of the new Twitch contracts, they want a lot of hours, and they're always looking for ways to get more ads in there. I think that's going to start pushing a lot of the big streamers to YouTube, which is a lot more lax on hours and obviously ads. In fact, I don't even think there are like YouTube intrusive ads. So as that number continues to climb, expecting like 180, 200, 160, I think some streamers that have already been grinding super hard are going to look at YouTube and be like, you know, less hours does sound good. I get a bag, less hours. Their ads are terrible. I think the focus and reliance on ads is going to be something that drives the nail in the coffin towards the end. You can't click on a stream and get a fucking 60-second ad or even like 2 60-second ads. You just can't. Like, if you tell someone, like, hey, I'm watching this shit on Twitch, come watch with me, and they click on it and they get a 60-second ad, you've lost a friend. You know, like, they're not coming back. But if you tell them, like, hey, watch this guy with me on YouTube, they click on the stream, there's no ad. Like, immediately that's just a better start to someone that's unfamiliar with the platform. They've got to do something about that, man. They incentivize doing ads during stream to get rid of that, but you can't really gamify it. It just shouldn't be there in the first place. I think it's for every 3 minutes of ads you play, you get 30 minutes of ad-free on start, like pre-roll ad or something. I don't remember. And you think YouTube will be bigger for streaming than Twitch? Not soon, but I think eventually. I couldn't decide whether or not to make this video, so I did what I always do when I'm conflicted on a topic. I ate a peanut butter and honey sandwich. There's something about that just unlocks the full capacity of the human brain. It's like that pill from Limitless. So after my post-sandwich clarity, I did decide that this is worth talking about because I think there is a lesson to be learned here. Yesterday I posted this video, and it's me talking about a YouTuber event that was hosted where it was a roast battle, but there was no preparation, everyone was a stranger. I'm also pretty sure it was everyone's first time on stage, so it just became this giant, unhinged, festering petri dish of concentrated cringe. And I was joking about it and talking about it. And today, the Frankenstein behind this monster, Def Noodles, the YouTuber who ran the event, responded to me and my take on it. And this is why I was so back and forth on whether or not to make this video, because I don't want this to be construed as some kind of personal attack or anything personal. Like I said when talking about the event, I don't really know Def Noodles. I don't hate him. I've only seen a couple of things on Twitter where he said or did some bad shit that people were dunking on him for, and I've seen this roast. That's my whole exposure to Def Noodles, so I don't have strong opinions on him. I was making jokes about the event as well as his set, but I don't know the guy very well. So I'm not just going to be insulting him or anything like that. This is going to be me talking about his response video, which I think is a very important lesson in how not to handle controversy.
Today's video is a little bit different than usual. I think it's about time that I address the new allegations against me. It feels like it's only been a few days since I've had to make one of these videos addressing allegations, and yet here we are once again addressing more allegations. I mean,
this is such a weird way of starting the video because I didn't make any allegations against him. I made jokes about the event and talked about it. The closest thing that came to an accusation from me, I guess, is when I compared the roast battle to an act of terrorism. Which, I think there's a good argument to be made there. This was so fucking bad. Obviously, I'm just goofing around. It's just such a weird way of framing this video because I didn't make any allegations against him. I also don't understand why he titled the video an apology to Moist Critical. He doesn't owe anyone an apology, least of all me. I fucking loved it. I thought it was delightful. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. He put on an event and it didn't go over super well with the majority of people, and that's fine.
I just can't help myself. I can't keep my dick in my pants when it comes to creating problems and destroying my career. I just need to fuck it. My career. I need to fuck it up. I mean,
I think it's important to note that this entire 10-minute video is sarcastic. The entire 10 minutes is spent in full sarcastic monologue like it's a high school drama club exercise. And I really don't see why he would think that's a good idea. And he started this video by saying this isn't the normal piece of content he makes, but it really has become the normal piece of content he makes. This is the third video in the last 8 days he's made talking about drama and like revolving around himself, like the controversy on Twitter or whatever. He's made 3 videos talking about it, and his audience is tired of it. You can see it in the comments section with so many of his fans just asking him to please stop doing this. And in this short section where he talks about how he can't help but fuck up his career, there is a level of truth to that, and I think there's a level of self-awareness there as well. When he posted this video, he lost 3,000 subscribers over the course of 6 hours because, again, his fan base didn't sign up to hear him throw these like self-pity parties here. This isn't the content that they want, and he keeps talking about it over and over and over again. And he's making a big deal out of these things, but like, I don't know the other drama, but this is not an issue. You know, you put on an event, which is more than a lot of people will do, so you should be proud of that, and it just didn't go over super well, right? That's not a crime. You know, no one's saying that you should be thrown in the fucking slammer for it or anything like that. People were just laughing about it. The main takeaway here is impulsively making a video while emotional. And it's something I've done before too. Every YouTuber's made a video they regret, obviously. And I think that's what he's going through at the moment, where he's impulsively responding to things that are kind of non-issues, like me laughing at the roast, or people's response to the roast, or whatever the fuck is going on Twitter, and making a video about it, which is only further hurting him. Which it's like a cycle. And there just has to be this point where you say, like, okay, let me just step back from Twitter, which is the best thing you can ever do, you know, and I'll just, you know, handle it privately, as opposed to making everything a public spectacle, you know. There was drama on Twitter, and I'm just going to sit on it myself. I don't need to make a video talking about it, because if I do, people aren't going to want to hear it, and they might not like it.
I did indeed get banned on Twitch after a gay comedian made a gay joke, and I got massive backlash for it on Twitter as a result.
This part's a little disingenuous because he seems to believe he got banned because of people mass reporting him and having a big backlash about it. But that's not really the case. What happened is Def Noodles was roasting against another comedian, and she just randomly shouted a slur for no reason. There wasn't like a joke leading up to it. There wasn't like a punchline or any context to it. She just shouted a slur, which is against Twitch's rules. So whether or not people made a big fuss about it on Twitter wouldn't have mattered. He was going to get banned for that.
Greatest crime that I committed was to have caused the great moist critical to cringe. I have unfortunately committed the most heinous sin a YouTuber can commit in their careers.
This is again pretty disingenuous because I don't cringe. Sometimes my eyes just get itchy during very uncomfortable moments, and I'll have to, you know, stop and scratch them occasionally, but I'm just not built to cringe. I don't have that gene.
After hearing out the entire internet and realizing that I committed the most heinous crime against humanity by putting on a show in my office and broadcasting it for free for anyone to see, the only way I could see this situation was with remorse. I am deeply apologetic for anyone out there who was traumatized by the free will to click on a video and watch it.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the tone for the whole video, basically, where it's, you had the free will, I'm sorry I provided you with free entertainment, man, how douchey of me to put on a free event on my own time to have some fun, I'm so sorry. Like that kind of thing. Why? Why make this sarcastic, salty video about it? No one's mad at you for putting on the event. I don't see anyone upset. Like, people had a great time laughing at it. Granted, that wasn't the effect you intended it to have, but even still, as a comedian, being able to roll with the punches is super important, but this is the opposite of rolling with the punches. This is like sarcastically punching back. I don't see why. The only people that would have any right to be upset with the event are the people that paid for it, and I haven't seen any of them complain, and from what you said in this video, they had a great time, so overall, it was successful. So then why be mad? Why make yet another video rolling around in your own personal drama and posting it on your channel? That is self-destructive. That is a downward spiral. Your audience doesn't want to keep seeing you do this. I don't want to see you making videos like this because it's just not a good look.
I truly wish we lived in a dictatorial society so government officials could just rush into my building mid-show and have me immediately sent to the gulags for even attempting to do something of the sort. That is not the enough punishment for me. Honestly, I think the only appropriate response to the video that I chose to freely publish on the internet is death. I should go educate myself at the end of the barrel of a loaded shotgun. After all, the taste of bullets is the only thing that can truly educate a person to never commit a crime ever again.
Hearing things like this is just deeply concerning, and I totally understand why his audience is really trying their best to get through to him that these kind of videos are alarming and very much driving them away from him and his content. It's just disturbing to hear these kind of extreme statements, and I truly hope that this is just part of his sarcastic persona that he's putting on for the video. Like, maybe it's some kind of parody, but I haven't seen anyone say anything even close to this. All people are saying is, man, that was pretty cringy. Which he himself says on stage, as well as the other people on stage also point out that it was cringy. So I don't know why he's blowing it up like this with statements like that. I really do hope it's just part of this over-the-top sarcastic persona that he's portraying here.
Fully address the situation with Great Moist Critical. Mr. Moist. Anyway, Mr. Moist Critical, I thank you for your profound observations. I thank you for showing me the light. I will once again produce a super roast battle 2 weeks from now so we can wrong every right that was left unturned.
Yeah, he concludes the video by announcing a second roast is right around the corner, which I'm pretty hype about. I'm marking the calendar. But yeah, I think the announcement could have been better saved for a piece of content that was more, not this. This is just a very long, sarcastic drama video that his audience doesn't want to keep seeing, and a lot of people will be turned off by. I, again, am not super familiar with Def Noodles, but I really am wishing him the best here because this doesn't seem like a healthy way of combating drama or controversy. So, yeah, that's really about it. So, yep. Yesterday, something crazy happened, and I'm sure you've all heard about it. Twitch was hacked. They were blasted by the notorious hacker known as 4chan. This Mr. 4chan was able to infiltrate the mainframe itself, jacking directly into the cyberspace and releasing a ton of information about Twitch and the streamers on the platform. It was similar to what happened with the fappening, if you remember that. The fappening was when a bunch of celebrity nudes leaked all at once, and yesterday Twitch experienced its own version of the fappening, but a lot less cool. It was mainly streamer income that got released. However, the whole hack was like 235 gigabytes, I believe, and it was labeled Part 1. So the hacker's already teasing a Season 2 of this anime here. They're leaving it on a cliffhanger, so it's just an appetizer, apparently. But the main thing that everyone was focusing on yesterday from this hack was streamer income, because they publicly released every streamer's income since 2019. And I want to talk about that a little bit before going into like the hack itself, which is a pretty fucking wild thing. I don't know what's going to be in part 2. I guess it could be something even crazier, like he found Jeff Bezos' dick pics embedded deep in Twitch's code or something. That would be pretty wild. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if in part 2 this dude reveals that he found the Twitch Konami code. You know, like kind of like how in Melee you can play as Master Hand with like some cheats and some mods. This dude found that equivalent for Twitch, and he's able to just look at Jeff Bezos' wiener. You know, I don't know what to expect, but it's apparently, like, wild stuff. But the thing that I'm going to focus on is the streamer income, since that was the hot topic yesterday. I want to start by saying that I think this is the least important topic of this entire hack. They claim that they got the source code of Twitch as well as some other extremely sensitive things, but for some reason all of that was overshadowed by the fact that they released streamers' income. So he released an entire write-up of every single streamer's income since 2019, and everyone lost their fucking mind. I made a video talking about this. It is publicly available information to at least get a close estimate for what any streamer makes on that platform. Subscriber numbers are public, and a subscriber is $5 a month at Tier 1 or Prime. There's a Tier 2 and Tier 3 which aren't factored in here, but just to give you a base, assume everything's Tier 1. If you take their sub number and multiply that by 2.5 or 3.5, you get a very close guess as to what that streamer is making, and that's just from subs. Now, it's 2.5 or 3.5 because Twitch obviously takes a cut of that $5 sub. This is just assuming every sub is a tier 1 or a prime, which obviously they all aren't. What was released yesterday in the leak is the streamer's total income from subs and ads. I believe it was ads factored in there as well. And people acted like it was some big sistery, like a big gotcha moment, like this is the smoking gun. This was the hole in the condom that we needed to find. It turns out these streamers are making money on the platform, even though all of it's been public information from the get-go. The only thing that is a mystery, I guess, is how much gets made from ads. And even then, I'm not sure that those numbers even factor that in. I'm only going off what I read there and the numbers they posted for me. I'm assuming ads are factored in there, because if they are, then the number they posted for me is pretty close to the monthly. Now, the thing is, though, the only thing they really did is they did all the math for you. If you just look at a Twitch streamer's subs and multiply by 2.5 or 3.5, and you do that across 2 years, the number you will get is very, very close to the number they posted. They just did the homework for you. But all of it's public, so I don't know why people lost their fucking mind. Like, look at this! It turns out Twitch streamers are making a lot of money on the platform, as if they just found the Krabby Patty secret formula. It takes only a little bit of common sense and a little bit of just thinking rationally for a second to recognize, like, when I give this streamer a prime, or I pay $5, $15, $25 to a streamer, they get money for that. It's, like, it's not a hard concept to wrap your head around. And exactly how much they get also isn't a mystery when the numbers, the sub numbers, are literally public in your face. Some streamers have their sub count on the screen in front of them at all times. They are begging you to do the math to see how much money they make. And yes, it's a lot. That's no surprise. I've been saying for fucking years, streamers make a ton of money, significantly more than people seem to think they do. Even when the numbers are right in front of them, they still like to believe that the streamers they enjoy aren't well off for some reason, and when they find out that they do have money, a lot of people feel betrayed, as we saw yesterday, which is weird. People were getting mad at me, like, oh, so Charlie, it turns out you make money on Twitch. You're ranked 22 in the world on Twitch in terms of earning. How fucking disgusting. How could you mislead us, Charlie? And I just don't get it, because I'm not misleading anyone. Just because I'm not some douchebag who flexes their wealth all the time doesn't mean that I don't have money. I know I dress like a cartoon character and all that, but it doesn't mean that I am not well off. I'm extremely lucky and fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, and I make that very clear all the time. I understand how lucky I am to be in the position that I am. I don't go on stream and put on an act and pretend to be broke like, oh guys, I'm starving and hungry, I can't afford warm clothing, so when winter comes around it's always miserable. Yesterday I was eating chicken fries off of the Burger King bathroom floor, and I just don't know how much longer I can do this without your primes. I need your primes in order to survive. I'm actually starving to death. I was drinking water out of a dumpster just to get by because it was the only free water I had access to. I need your primes. I don't do that shit, so I've never misled anyone. I've always been very upfront about the lucky situation I found myself in. I understand when a lot of you look at me, you assume I'm homeless, but as I've stated multiple times, I'm in an extremely lucky position. And you want to know, like, the most incredible thing that's going to blow some fucking minds out here? I'm about to break the magician's code, apparently. The numbers that were released in the leak yesterday are wrong. They're too low. The streamers on that list, every single one of them, well, at least for like the top 100, are making significantly more than is represented on those leaks. Those leaks only cover subs and ads. They are not covering the donations through Streamlabs because that doesn't go through Twitch, so they wouldn't have access to those numbers. And they're also not counting sponsors, and they're also not counting Twitch contracts. A lot of the top 50 streamers on there have contracts with Twitch, which add a significant chunk of money to streamers' income, and those are not represented there. XQC is on there at like 8.6 mil or something like that, and you're fucking crazy if you think that's all he's making from Twitch. And I didn't think any of this information was something top secret or fucking world-changing where people's universes are melting around them right now and they're questioning everything. They don't even trust their own fucking parents anymore because maybe they're successful Twitch streamers somewhere. Like, I thought all of this was common knowledge for most people because it's all right in your face. Most of the information is just right there at your fingertips. Just look at their sub number and do basic math and you get a very close guess on what they're pulling in. What really shocks me about this whole thing is how big of a deal it was, A, and B, how many people felt betrayed by streamers they liked because it turns out they're successful. Like, you know, I loved you. You know, I fucking loved you, Soda Poppin', until I found out that you actually are pretty wealthy. Now, I just spit on you, and you make me fucking sick. I can't stand the sight of you anymore. You know, like, what? For some reason, people want the people they like to not be successful, or they only want them to be successful up until a certain point. It's like music hipsters. When they find an artist that they find that's a little underrated and then that artist gets big, they get fucking mad about it. Like, God, I love this artist until they became successful, now I fucking hate them. Well, I liked them before it was cool and now I hate them. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't like that perspective or that mentality at all. For some reason, there was a thread about how I'm a hypocrite because I called out a greedy Twitch streamer in a video once, and then it turns out that I make money on the platform. How are those two things related at all? I was literally criticizing them because they were greedy on a platform where they are making a ton of money to begin with. So sitting on stream and shaming your viewers for not giving you more money when you're already making thousands upon thousands of dollars from them supporting you is greedy, and me calling that out doesn't make me a hypocrite just because it turns out I also make a lot of money from Twitch. The difference is I am not sitting there begging for it and demanding my followers give me money. I'm not sitting there sniffing my own farts, hand on my balls, saying like, guys, I'm not starting the stream till I get a hype train of level 5. I need 100 subs right now or I'm not streaming. You know, these streams aren't free. You're gonna have to give me fucking tier 2s, tier 3s, tier 1s, give me your primes. I'm fucking gluttonous. I need it all right now. I'm going full-blown Mr. Krabs. You know, I'm not sitting there doing that. I'm just streaming, and I just get lucky that there's so many kind people that just want to show support to the stream and support the members within the community. It doesn't go deeper than that. This wasn't some like nefarious secret that I was trying to keep under wraps like, fuck, I hope no one realizes that I actually make money on Twitch. It's all been right there the entire time, and I'm not hiding anything, and I can't recall seeing any streamer hiding the fact that they're very successful on the platform. You know, like Hassan, for example, he's getting eaten alive for the fact that his money has come out. He publicly shows his subscriber count like right above his face cam. You can see like 50,000 subs. It takes an actual toddler to just look at that and be like, that's a high number. And each of those numbers represents a dollar amount. Like, that's a lot of money, right? Like, it's not that hard. You know, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that streamers are making a lot of money. All of it has been public for as long as I can remember Twitch existing. Now, of course, all of this coming out has led to the classic argument that's been around since the internet's inception of they don't deserve that money. These streamers, they don't deserve any of that. Firefighters don't make that much money. My mom's a librarian and she makes half that amount of money. This is bullshit. They shouldn't have that at all. Now, whether or not you think streamers deserve that much money, that's going to be entirely on you. I'm not here to change your opinion or perspective on it. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to take the belt to you if you think differently than I do about it. It doesn't really... It's not something I'm trying to argue. But it's something you could say for pretty much everything else when it comes to entertainment. Why are athletes making that much money, right? Yeah, they spend a lot of time in their sport, they're extremely good at it, but at the end of the day, it's just entertainment for you as a spectator. You pay money to go to their games to watch them play for an hour and a half, 2-3 hours, whatever sport you're going to, and then you leave being entertained, hopefully, or heartbroken if your team sucks some asshole, and then that's it. Then you do it again next week. Or during the off season, you just get excited for when it comes back around. It's just entertainment that you are paying for at the end of the day. It's pretty much the same thing. On Twitch, you have people that are really good at a game. They'll stream for like 16 hours at a time. You have 16 hours worth of entertainment. And maybe at some point across those 16 hours, you're like, you know what? I feel like tossing $5 this dude's way. He's entertaining me. It's been good company. It's been good background noise. I'll toss $5. And you forget about it. And that adds up. There's millions upon millions of viewers on Twitch around the world every month. So if you just have some people doing that, then the person that is entertaining people for 16 hours is getting $5 pretty often. Like, it's pretty simple. Actors is another one. Anything when it comes to entertainment. Why is Robert Downey Jr. getting paid so much money when he only has to work like 3 or 4 months out of the year on a film, and he's making hundreds of millions of dollars? You could argue he doesn't deserve that much money because he's not putting in that much work, and he only entertains you for like 2 hours once a year at most with a movie. And you could say it for the music industry. Lil Pump releases a song where he just says Gucci Gang 100 times. Does he deserve all the money he made from that? Like, it's just something that extends to everything in entertainment, and it truly just depends on what you find entertaining and whether or not you place a monetary value on entertainment. Like, it's just pretty simple. It's not a competition of like what's harder or what's more beneficial or productive. It's just a matter of whatever puts a smile on your face and if that's worth anything to you. Like, I just don't really know why streaming is the one that's targeted when it extends to everything in entertainment. It's just not that deep. It's the same as every other entertainment field. It really is. The only difference is the amount of hours that go into it. Like I said, most big streamers stream daily for like 8 hours a day. So they are constantly online entertaining people. So that's going to be a lot of different faces coming in every day at all hours of the day. And then at some point, among all of those faces, someone decides to just support the stream. And all of that adds up. So bingo, bango, bongo, the streamer makes a lot of money over time. I don't know why that's such a hard concept for a lot of people to grasp. It works the same way in every other entertainment field. And no one's like, holy shit, can you believe how much money actors make? What the fuck is this about? Or musicians. Can you believe Lil Nas X actually makes millions of dollars? Like, I can't believe it. You know, like, no one's like shocked there, but for streamers, for some reason, it's a little different. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm going to pretend to be one. I think the reason why people got so mad is because when it comes to streaming, a lot of viewers form some kind of relationship with the person they're watching, whether or not they want to admit it or whether or not they're even aware of it themselves. I feel like subconsciously, some viewers that regularly tune into a streamer want that streamer to be in the same position they are for the most part. So if a viewer's not financially well off and they see the streamer they like is, that probably builds a little bit of resentment and a little bit of betrayal because they have this, even if it's a small connection to this streamer, where they feel like they're closer than they are or should be. So I think that's where it stems from. Streaming has always had a problem with parasocial relationships, and I think the response to seeing streamer income really helps highlight that. Like, it's not a mystery where it all comes from, and whether or not you think they deserve it, that's not something I'm here to argue with you about at all. But yeah, anyway, I think that covers like most of the things here. I think what people should be focused on with this leak is what could happen. Having Twitch's source code completely out, as well as a couple of other things that are mentioned in the leak, is a huge deal that I think not enough people are focused on. The whole Twitch streamer income has completely overshadowed the most wild part about the entire thing. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this because this is what everyone's been wanting to hear about, so I figured it was worth at least going over. That's about it. See ya. Today, Mixer dropped a surprise announcement by saying it's shutting down, they're giving up, and even more so than that, they're closing the doors and lighting the entire fucking thing on fire because they're not just closing the company, they're taking all of the streamers from Mixer and moving them over to Facebook Gaming if they choose to go, which is a fate worse than death, so it's actually just spitting in all of their faces. Now, for those that don't know what Mixer is, which I imagine a lot of you have no idea what I'm talking about, you've probably only heard of Mixer as like a punchline to a joke. Mixer was a streaming service that was supposed to be a competitor to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Gaming, but it was never really able to get its footing. It was never able to really get its dick wet in this field of streaming. It couldn't capture an audience that would keep coming back. Even though they made some power plays, they took the two biggest streamers in the world away from Twitch, Ninja and Shroud, and had them exclusively streaming on Mixer, but not even that was enough. People just left when Ninja or Shroud went offline, which sucks, but that's what happened. People didn't stick around to find new streamers on Mixer or explore or anything, so Mixer just couldn't find a viewer base or anything. So you can't ever really say Mixer even competed with Twitch and YouTube in that respect because it wasn't even close. It'd be like saying, you know, the JV high school quarterback is competing with Tom Brady for the starting lineup on the Buccaneers. It's just not even the same fucking ballpark. The only thing Mixer was competing with was like some obscure outdated shit. Like if AOL had a streaming service, it'd probably be going to head with Mixer's. It just didn't take off. Even though they did take the biggest talent in the streaming field and put it on their platform, it just didn't work. And I honestly think it's a shame. I made it clear when I talked about this after they took Ninja and Shroud, I don't like Mixer just because I don't like the layout of it, but I liked that it existed. I liked that it wanted to compete because competition, especially in something like streaming, is absolutely great for everyone who streams or anyone who watches streams. As I'm sure all of you know, competition is the best thing there is when it comes to business because it forces companies to improve and actually listen to consumers, otherwise they risk losing them to a competitor that is. And that's what I thought Mixer could be for something like Twitch, where Twitch was having a lot of problems and it wasn't listening to its community, but now Mixer had just taken their two biggest stars away from them. Maybe that would force Twitch to, you know, reevaluate how they run the site. But unfortunately, Mixer just couldn't get to a level where they were an actual threat to something like Twitch or YouTube or Facebook gaming. And I think that's unfortunate, but this shutdown is more than just a company shutting down. This has absolutely devastated a lot of people that have dedicated their lives to streaming on Mixer. And this, I feel like a lot of people probably knew this day was coming at some point, but just not this soon. This was like a septic tank that just fucking blew up. A stick of dynamite was shoved in there by Microsoft and they just blew the whole thing wide open here. Microsoft did what it does best. Ruin a fucking company. Not that Mixer was doing incredible on its own, but Microsoft gave it the curse. Who remembers Skype? You guys remember Skype? Skype was a household name. When you thought of talking online, texting your friends on the computer, voice or video chat with your friends, you thought of Skype. Hey, I'm going to Skype my friends. Got to hop on Skype. Got to talk to some friends. I'm going to get on Skype tonight. We're going to hang out. Skype. Everyone knew what Skype was. It was huge. It was the go-to for chatting online. And then Microsoft does what it does best, and fuck it. Nowadays, Zoom. Zoom now has that brand recognition, but Skype used to have that. And Skype today is basically just official malware. Skype is literally a fucking virus on your computer. There's been no improvements to it, no changes, nothing to make it competitive with anything. It's just been this stagnated hemorrhoid on your fucking computer that ships with a computer by default at this point. It's just a fucking worthless piece of shit. But it didn't have to be that way. It was literally a household name and probably one of the biggest programs on the internet for a long time. But Microsoft didn't know what to do with it and just let it die. They've now done the same with Mixer, except with Mixer, they tried two things. They tried poaching streaming talent and then nothing else. That was their second approach. Let's just do nothing and see if it works. Well, our first thing didn't work. Okay, we're done. That's what they did. Maybe there was a future for Mixer. But Microsoft didn't want to play the long game. They acquired Mixer in 2016, 2017, I don't quite remember, but either one, it doesn't matter. It was still very young in its infancy, and they only really tried in the last year to do anything meaningful with it by taking Twitch streamers, and really, they did change things. That made streamers realize, okay, so we're worth something to these companies, which allowed them to negotiate contracts with Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, Facebook. So they did do something, but it didn't grow their platform. And or at least it didn't grow it as fast as they wanted it to. They were trying to fucking speed run streaming services here without ever putting in the actual work to organically grow it, and then they gave up. It didn't even take a full fucking year. Ninja and Shroud, they are kings in this right here. They fucking came out like an actual goddamn god. They got a huge deal to exclusively stream on Mixer. They kept their Twitch accounts. They didn't even have to stream on Mixer for a full year. And now Mixer is closed and had to pay their entire contracts in full and can go right back to Twitch. They have the freedom to go to wherever they want and they'll likely go back to Twitch. That is huge. So congrats to them. But it really fucking sucks for all the smaller streamers on Mixer that didn't get partnered by Mixer or did get partnered by Mixer, dedicated everything to it, and now have nothing except the, hey, why don't you try Facebook gaming? That's like getting a Jelly of the Month Club membership that you have no desire for. It's just worthless. And they just let everyone know over a Twitter post. They didn't even have the decency to reach out to, their top Mixer talent and be like, hey guys, look, this is what's going on. We're going to need to figure something out together. They didn't even do that. They just fucking dropped it on Twitter. And then if you went to Mixer after that announcement, almost every stream on there was fuck Mixer, with the people crying, literally crying, because, they dedicated their lives to Mixer, investing in the potential, the possibility that Mixer could be an actual competitor to the big boys, and they must have fallen in love with something specific about the platform that now they just got fucked out of, with no warning, and that's terrible. Now, I imagine everyone on Mixer will probably go to Twitch, and I imagine their viewership will actually probably increase because, Mixer, again, was really struggling in that regard, so it could be a net positive for some of these creators, but that's down the line. Immediately, their live, it's come to a screeching halt because of this decision out of the blue with no warning. So now they have no plans and no preparation that they're going to have to figure out where to go from here. And I can tell you where they're not going, Facebook gaming. 100%. I can tell you the majority of those people are not going to Facebook gaming. Even if the platform looks appealing to them, out of pure principle after what Mixer did to them, they will not be joining Facebook gaming. I can almost assure you of that. And especially when Facebook gaming has a program called Level Up, that shit's terrible. That has no actual relevance to what I'm talking about, but I hate when these companies use gamer terms to talk about shit like, this is the Level Up program, this is the Prestige First Edition program. I hate that. Shit's embarrassing. At least with Twitch and other things, this is a subscribe. These are bits. That's about it. No goofy fucking Discord jargon. Oh, this is the high elves sprinkle dust. Look at this. It seems nice guy Mc45 has just sparked up 15 quablobbles on ya. Wowee. Hate that shit. So fuck the level up program. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because it is such a big deal. I did make a video initially talking about when Mixer took Ninja away from Twitch and, where I thought that was going to lead. Spoiler alert, I was totally fucking wrong. I thought Mixer was actually going to be a competitor to Twitch in like 2 or 3 years. They didn't even make it a full fucking year after that decision. So I overestimated Microsoft's ability to stick with something, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I just thought this was something that was worth talking about, and really good luck to everyone on Mixer that's now looking for where they're gonna go next. That's about it. See ya. No long-winded intro. I actually got some sleep last night. I'm supercharged. Right now I'm Charles Prime. So let's just dive right in. Yesterday I covered the ongoing YouTube issue YouTubers are debating about with the reduction in views coming out of nowhere, all from Judgment Day, August 10th. Post August 10th, views took a huge decline pretty much across the board on channels, and a YouTuber named Josh Strife Hayes believed he found the culprit, which was desktop views no longer being counted the same way they were prior. This led to a bit of a debate between him and the Spiffing Brit, where the Spiffing Brit, another huge channel, disagreed and believed that that was, a bunch of malarkey, that was a bunch of fish paste. Josh Strife Hayes made a follow-up where he believed he uncovered even more evidence to support his hypothesis and believes he knows exactly the direct root cause, which is monetized views on YouTube not changing, but any views that use ad block were no longer being counted, which is why all the desktop views for channels across the platform were down for the most part, but revenue stayed the same. And to get into the spaghetti and the meatballs, he is 100% right, I believe. I shared that video with people smarter than me who ended up sharing that with YouTube directly. And they kindly requested to not share their direct feedback, but I believe I can mention that they confirm his hypothesis for the most part. Now, right off rip, I want to address one of the most popular theories about this that people were speculating on, that this is YouTube getting rid of bots, banishing bots to the Shadow Realm, because we did just see Twitch do that, and they took like a fucking massive hit. Everyone saw them get clobbered when they lost all the bots there for like a day. So people thought maybe the same thing just happened on YouTube. It does not appear to be the case. It doesn't seem to be YouTube getting rid of bots that has caused this reduction. It does seem that Josh's hypothesis, being ad block, is the correct one. That is the winning racehorse here in this theory that explains why so many channels have seen a huge drop in views, specifically from desktop.
These channels, despite seeing low computer views from August 10th onwards, had not seen a drop in revenue. And I think that was the key, because that means it's likely to do with unmonetized views or ad block. However, when YouTube is watched through an ad blocker, these adverts don't play. The ad revenue isn't generated, which is bad for YouTube. On screen now is an article showing a previous clash between YouTube and ad blockers written in January 16th, 2024, referencing the November slowdown of 2023, where a change to ad blocker, not YouTube, was the culprit for the slowdown. So YouTube and ad blockers have been in an arms race for a while now, with YouTube wanting to ban ad blockers, even recently making the 3-strike system. You may have experienced it yourself.
Josh is right on the money. He pinned the tail on the donkey. That was the key. That was the chemical X to the Powerpuff Girls formula here. The relationship between the decrease in views having no effect on the creator's revenue, it did help him get into the actual problem. And that was YouTube's calculating of unmonetized views must have changed on August 10th, because that's where it happens the next day. You can literally see it across so many channels' data. I think it's pretty obvious that something happened on August 10th, but we don't know what the cause is exactly yet. What was the reason? In the words of Hoobastank, maybe the reason is you. The thing is, based on Josh Strife Hayes' theory, and now the whispers from the back end, I think I can confidently say with a high level of certainty that the reason is the interaction between content blockers and YouTube has changed, most likely from an update that was on or around August 10th. From what I'm hearing, it was most likely on the ad block side, where what they use in their protocol, what they use in their list, what they changed had the side effect of that data no longer registering with YouTube's backend, so they never even received the signal in the first place, which is why those views weren't recorded. But since they were ad-blocked views anyway, they weren't monetized, thus the creator revenue wasn't impacted. And it also explains why all of the other device types, the views don't go down because it hasn't changed. On desktop, on your computer, you are more likely to have ad blocks installed. Also, it does explain why some creators didn't see a big reduction in views. If they are mainly creating shorts content, which most people watch while taking a shit or whatever on their phone, or if the content is catered towards a younger audience, kids aren't as likely to have an ad block installed. So some of the channels that I've seen talk about how they haven't seen any hit to their desktop views post August 10th, their demographic is skewed much younger. So these kids are most likely not having an ad block installed, so their views are still monetized, thus calculated the same. It explains why long-form videos that have an older audience are now much lower because of the presence of an ad block. It is a pretty watertight theory, and like I mentioned, this has made its way to YouTube.
The lost views were not monetized views, because if they were, we would have seen a reduction in revenue, which we didn't. But there's a third aspect to this. YouTube have claimed they have not changed how long-form views are recorded, and I think they are telling the truth. They haven't changed how they show the data they receive, which leads me to two possible conclusions. Either a huge amount of computer viewers all decided on August 10th to collectively stop watching a huge amount of channels all at once, which I think is remarkably unlikely. Or two, the data of the views wasn't being sent to YouTube because it either didn't happen or did happen and wasn't being sent.
And I think that is exactly right. I think that is the case. I think YouTube is telling the truth. And Spiffing Brit in his video mentions he talks to YouTube directly and they confirm they didn't change the way they calculate views. I don't think that's what's changed. I think the back end with the ad block non-monetized views are no longer even being sent to YouTube to record. I don't believe the data is making it to them. And from the little birdies I've heard talking about this internally at YouTube and everyone else I've shared this with, that does appear to be exactly the case. Now, I don't know if they're going to make an official statement about this. Fingers crossed they do, because clearly this is now a conversation that has reached the eyes and ears of those at YouTube. I think it would be very good if they did. I don't know if they will or not, but I feel like they should.
On the 11th of August, the website Tom's Guide published the article titled YouTube just quietly blocked Adblock Plus. The internet hasn't noticed yet, but I've found a workaround. I believe the data I have presented and the slew of channels affected highly likely points to August 10th or 11th, depending on your time zone, being days that the website YouTube and views from desktop or laptop PCs using ad blockers began to interact in an abnormal way, potentially caused by a change to either side, likely the adblock side, and this change caused YouTube to become unusable for viewers using adblock. This prevented videos gaining the expected computer views, but lost views were not monetized anyway, which is why the creators who saw lower view counts from PC did not see a reduction in revenue. I believe what we actually found was a small bit of digital data fallout from the software arms race between YouTube and ad blockers.
This really is an impressive investigation from Josh Strife Hayes here. So he found data to confirm that post August 10th, the next day, there was apparently site-wide outages for people with ad blocks, reporting that they couldn't even use the site that day. So he extrapolates based on this that perhaps the culprit was the ad block made the site unusable, so maybe the viewers couldn't even view the content, which is why there was such a drastic drop in views. However, I believe it's a bit deeper than that. I believe that whatever ad block change happened on or around the 10th or 11th, that made it so that way those views were no longer even being sent to YouTube to record on the back end. I don't think it was just it's down for a day or two, that's why the views are low, because if that was the case, it would have trended back up, but it hasn't, or at least not in a way you would expect. It doesn't go back to the previous patterns falling in line with the normal correlation. There is actually even a public post from YouTube where they do have a brief mention of ad block and inaccuracies of reported view counts. So on this section here about what could cause some creators to report a drop in views. Outside of like the obvious ones they point out, like maybe you just blow ass, like maybe you're just like a turbo dweeb and shit like that, they do have this one here with the ad blocks about how it can impact the accuracy of the view count tools. Channels whose audience include a higher portion of users utilizing such tools may see more fluctuations in traffic related to updates to these tools, which I think is exactly what happened here. This has been a long, ongoing battle between YouTube and ad blockers. They've tried all kinds of tactics like shaming viewers, like, we see you're using an ad block. Do you want to go to hell? That kind of thing. And this appears to be just the latest development in this. This is like the fucking Krogan versus Solarian war here. YouTube trying to sterilize us with ads, but we're desperately pushing back to try and have the platform not be ruined by it. And now I think that what we're seeing here with this huge view drop post August 10th from desktop views is the result of ad blocks updating, and whatever update they changed on their back end caused YouTube to not record any views that were experienced from users using those tools. I don't think YouTube changed anything on their back end. I think the Spiffing Brit is telling the truth when he says that YouTube told him that they didn't change anything. I think that is honest. I don't think they did. I think it is on the ad blockers end, which is something Josh Strife Hayes also mentions. It appears to be that whatever they updated has now had the unfortunate side effect of no longer having those views calculated for the channels that they watch, because YouTube is not even being sent that data in the first place. It doesn't even get that signal. But anyway, that's kind of the explanation for everything as I understand it, and from everything that has apparently been talked about from the internals of YouTube as well. Really incredible work from Josh Strife Hayes to get to the bottom of this. I'm hoping the YouTube will make an official statement in regards to this, because now it's become such a big conversation piece that it is even leading to like drama on the platform to a certain extent, which, you know, it's just, it could easily be stopped if YouTube would just be, you know, not as tight-lipped about shit that they do have knowledge on in regards to these kind of topics. But anyway, I guess we'll see if they do. That's really about it. So yeah. I see people debate a lot what's better to stream on YouTube or Twitch, and it's a question I get asked a lot because I'm like Constantine, the man who walks between worlds here, because I stream on both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I multi-stream. I am the future. I'm the chimera. There's pros and cons to each platform, but if you do both of them at the same time, you create the perfect stew. It's the chemical X to streaming. I have said since switching to multi-streaming, every single person should be multi-streaming. Contracts don't exist anymore except for on Kick, and even that I think is gone. There are no Twitch contracts. There are no YouTube contracts. They've gone extinct, like the saber-toothed tiger. You know, like they have wiped their ass with contracts to creators. So I think you are making a big mistake if you just marry yourself to one of those platforms instead of just doing both, because you can. When people talk about this subject, they only give like the basic rundown, like the nutsack summary of pros and cons. I haven't seen anyone really go over numbers. I'm going to go over numbers. And I really think that the numbers here tell a very complete story of why multi-streaming should be the norm for streamers. It's in their best interest, and for viewers too, because then viewers have a choice on, do they want to watch it on Twitch where they're going to have a much more interactive chat experience, or do they want to watch it on YouTube where they don't care about the chat experience because it's a lot more dog shitty there. It's basically non-existent chat culture on YouTube streaming, but the playback is a lot smoother, a lot higher quality, and you can rewind it, which is a nice quality of life change. Also, it's a lot better on mobile. Twitch on mobile has been a fucking disaster for me for as long as I've tried to watch Twitch on my phone. Also, the ads on Twitch, they're getting outrageous. YouTube streaming doesn't have nearly as many ads, which is a nice breath of fresh air. Like, there are real pros and cons to both, but these are just the basics. And these talking points have been worn out more than my bussy after eating anything with spice in it. So I'm not just going to be baby bird vomiting the same talking points you've heard a million times. Instead, I want to show you the numbers. I want to bring up my biggest, most profitable stream I ever did on Twitch and then break it down a little bit. It was in 2022 when Moist Esports won the Rocket League Major, the Spring Major, still one of the best moments I've ever had streaming. I peaked at 75,000 live viewers. It was a very long stream that I did, and it took home 11.7K for that whole stream. Roughly 2,000 subs, but most of it came through ads, and most of those subs were primes. Subbing on Twitch is far more common than members joining on YouTube. Membership on YouTube is the equivalent of a Twitch sub, where someone on YouTube pays $1. So like a tier 1 sub on YouTube for my channel is $1. On Twitch the minimum's $5, but it's the same concept. You pay money and it's a subscription basically. And that is so much more common on Twitch. So 2,000 subs on that Twitch stream is more than I've ever got through a YouTube live stream by a large margin. And 11.7K is the most profitable stream I ever had in my entire 7 years on Twitch. I actually streamed on Justin TV before it became Twitch. I used to do like World at War Zombies on there and shit, but then I took like a long hiatus and then came back in like 2016. But this was the biggest stream I've ever done. I then switched to multi-streaming last year. And what I've learned is Twitch is much higher potential to earn money while live than YouTube, and it's because of things like the Twitch Primes, which have become a pretty integral part of the Twitch ecosystem, and ads. Twitch actually has more ads than YouTube, and thus, since more ads are playing, that's more money being generated from those ads to the streamers. There's so fucking many ads on Twitch. They pump ads out the wazoo, and they are so intrusive. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple years Twitch integrates a system into their player that has like eye tracking capability, so if a viewer looks away during an ad break, it'll pause the ad till their eyes are glued right back to it to finish the ad. It's brutal, but it does have higher earning potential while live for those streamers that have all of these ad breaks that are going on. So Twitch has a higher earning potential through live content. And the VODs on Twitch don't make any money. Like, they just don't. I don't even know if they're fucking monetized. And if they are, I don't know if streamers even see a penny of that. Like, not a single one of those fucking clams makes it to a streamer's pockets through the VODs. But on YouTube, it's a totally different story. My most successful stream on YouTube isn't the one I just had at the Game Awards with over 110,000 live viewers, which is my biggest stream by viewer metrics. The most profitable stream I've ever done, the most profitable anything I've ever done, is this stream right here, my Starfield stream. During the stream, I had 31,000 average viewers with a peak of 38K, which is a big stream. That is a big stream for me. It's actually more average viewers than the Rocket League one, but the Rocket League stream not only was a longer stream, but had a higher peak, and thus you would expect make more money because of the ads and the subs that came through. Well, what if I told you that's not the fucking case when it comes to YouTube streaming? Because this Starfield video actually made $84,000. 84,000 doubloons for a 4-hour stream just playing mid-poop-ass Starfield. The actual... Like, this was like an insomnia, try not to fall asleep challenge, basically. $84,000. And it's not because the 31,000 viewers all of a sudden just started, buying memberships or donating tons and tons of money. This wasn't like the biggest documented case of credit card fraud and money laundering that the internet's ever seen. In fact, the live stream itself made 1.6K on ads, and the other $78,000 came from the VOD and the ads that played during a VOD. Now, the membership number there, the 2.4K, a lot of those memberships were just from people watching the VOD and then buying a membership, not them doing it while it was live. Also, the supers and gifts, I'm pretty sure that is live. So you can add the 1.6K plus the 1.6K on the supers, so the 1.6K from the live ads plus the super chats. And let's just go ahead and be generous and say like the live stream, while it was live, made 4K. The other $80,000 came from the VOD. This isn't some like rare mutation here, like a fucking X-Men of analytics. This isn't some fringe outlier isolated case. This is the way that YouTube streaming is optimized. YouTube streaming is kind of just an afterthought for the platform. YouTube has always been about VODs, the videos itself. So when you finish a stream, it becomes a VOD, and that enters into the YouTube algorithm. And YouTube is extremely efficient at monetizing VODs. So finishing a 4-hour Starfield stream, it immediately saved as a VOD and made tons and tons of money through the VOD. Whereas on Twitch, Again, I don't even think VODs are monetized, and if they are, it's not the creators making the money from the VODs, I don't think. YouTube is a totally different story. You don't make as much money while you are live from people buying memberships or donating money or anything like that, and their ads aren't that frequent on YouTube live streams, thank heavens. But what you miss in live revenue, you make up for with VOD revenue 10 times over. What I showed you with the Rocket League stream was my biggest, most profitable Twitch stream I ever did. So even when I was a daily streamer for like 6 to 8 hours a day for years, averaging between 10 to 20,000 viewers, fluctuating, I would usually be making between 4 to 6K a day. And that was like the norm, with the occasional peak going up to like 8 or 9, and then that being the biggest at over 11. But right now, my viewership combined on YouTube and Twitch is higher than it ever was on just Twitch. On YouTube, I average between 10 to 12K a stream, and on Twitch, it's between like 5 and 6K. It really just kind of depends on what I'm doing at the time. But on Twitch, you'll make more money while live and make nothing once the stream ends. On YouTube, you'll make less money while live and then could make 5 times as much from just the VOD. On Twitch, when the stream ends, it's basically forgotten. That's lost media at that point because no one's fucking watching Twitch VODs, it seems. On YouTube, when the stream ends, well, now the journey's just begun. Like, now, there's no telling what that can generate. Like, take this for example. This was a very normal, pretty low-key stream. I was just replaying Gears of War, one of the most important games in my life. This wasn't a brand new, hot release that would be, like, algorithmically successful. Like, it's not like something the algorithm will be salivating over, pushing out a Gears of War live stream. Gears of War is older than the hair on your grandma's titty nipple. Like, this is one of those streams where I do just because I really wanted to replay this game. And you can see my average viewers were 10,000, which is normal. That's a pretty normal stream for me on YouTube. But the VOD now has 1.6 million views and has made over $20,000. And of course I was multi-streaming, so I can pull the Twitch data as well here. This exact same stream made $1,400 on Twitch. The difference is substantial. Now you can see again here in the data, the live revenue, 802 while live here, plus again, memberships and supers aren't really indicative to what was live because some of those could have been from people watching the VOD, and it calculates here post-VOD. But regardless, you can see that the live revenue was less on YouTube than it was Twitch, but the overall revenue is substantially higher on YouTube because of the VODs, which is something Twitch just doesn't really have, which is why I think you should just do both. Your potential to earn while live is much higher on Twitch, but your potential to earn through VODs is astronomically higher on YouTube, so you're really doing yourself a disservice if you don't just do both. And again, it is a positive for viewers too, because they'll be able to choose the platform they want to watch on, as opposed to having to roll their eyes and be like, oh, my favorite streamer's on YouTube. I hate the fucking chat there, but whatever, I guess I'll watch. Or maybe I won't. I really hate YouTube streams. Or vice versa. Oh man, my favorite streamer's only on Twitch. He went from YouTube to Twitch, and I just don't like Twitch. I'm not a fan of it, and I guess I'm just not going to watch him anymore. I'll just wait for the VODs on YouTube when he posts the clips. Like, now they have the option of just being on what platform they want to watch the stream. And there's a lot of streamers that are making the switch to multi-streaming. I just really think this should just be common practice for anyone who streams, because there's no reason not to. There is no exclusive contracts anymore. They're gone. Poof, they've vanished. And that's great for streamers and viewers alike, honestly. I used to think contracts were the future for streams, but that was until I realized just how efficient multi-streaming is from both a streamer and viewer side. There are just endless examples I can give in my time multi-streaming. Like, here's another super normal one with me playing an indie game that I really like called Another Crab's Treasure. Fucking Crab Souls. Absolute banger of a game, but it's not like this stream was doing crazy numbers, right? Like, the movement on this stream wasn't anything, unfathomable. Average 13K viewers, but the VOD now has over 2 million views, and it's made over $30,000. And to show this same stream what it did on Twitch, the numbers that it put up over there, it did 1.3K during the live stream, and nothing from the VOD. I can go on and on with the crazy numbers that YouTube stream VODs are capable of putting up. Like, here's me just playing Liza P, fucking Pinocchio Souls, 16,000 average viewers, and the VOD has made over $51,000. I just don't think there's a very good argument to only streaming on one platform. There is no reason you shouldn't just multi-stream. Your viewers are going to pick the platform they most prefer, and I think that it's nice to at least give them the option of choosing that for themselves too. And again, the potential for the streamer is pretty huge. So yeah, anyway, hopefully this was helpful for anyone out there that's trying to decide what platform they should stream on. I think it should just be both. That's my advice, and to any streamers out there right now that are only streaming on either YouTube or only on Twitch, really think you should just come in the middle and hold hands with both platforms and just, like the commercial, why not both? I really think that it's probably a good idea. I do want to say though, regardless of what platform you're on, it's a very saturated market, so it's going to take a lot of luck. I've said this since the beginning of time, I'm not special. I got lucky. You could be making the best content the world's ever seen, turbo cheek clapping, slapping, banger, heater after heater, but at the end of the day, it's all about having that one lucky break that puts it in front of people's peepers and gets them interested. The only thing you have control over is the consistency. So that way you'll have like a catalog of videos that people can go back and watch after they might find that video that popped off through luck. So that's really about it. So yeah. Every single day there's been a new jump scare of crazy shit happening somewhere in the world, and every time I fire on the internet, it feels like I'm trapped in a bad fan fiction written on DeviantArt. It's just so much, and I've been trying to keep my finger on the pulse of everything, and it's overwhelming. I feel like a cold turkey being dunked in a deep fat fryer. I'm about to explode right now. But I wanted to make this video going over all those topics because I keep getting asked about it. I've become somewhat of a cum dumpster for drama, so I of course have been keeping up with most things going on, so let's just go over all of it here, at least to some degree. So slap on your snorkel because we're diving into the deep end. I want to start with the Balenciaga situation. Balenciaga is a high fashion brand that I'm sure all of you have heard of at least in passing before, and they recently ran a really disturbing ad campaign where they had a photo shoot involving children holding their favorite toys, but those toys, in some cases, were a plush teddy bear in BDSM gear. There were some other awful ones as well, but that's the one that stood out to most people because it was actual BDSM gear, and also a little girl was surrounded by like wine glasses and a spiked dog bowl. It's fucking awful stuff. I don't know who in their right mind came up with this idea or how they okayed this. They must have brought Jeffrey Epstein back with necromancy and asked him for some input on their next ad campaign, because this is bafflingly awful. And Balenciaga put out a pretty bizarre statement about it by making the claim that kids were never even supposed to be involved in that photo shoot with the BDSM bears. But that seems provably false because the photographer who took the pictures has an entire career out of doing that in a very different way. So this photographer goes around the world, takes pictures of kids with their favorite toys out. And that seems to be what they did here for Balenciaga, but the toys they made the kids put out were the BDSM bears, the spiked bowl, and shit like that. The photographer, Galimberti, also came out and said that he had no say whatsoever in the items that were displayed or anything. He was just instructed to go to set and take the pictures in his signature style. So it seems it was a Balenciaga decision, not a him decision. From what I can tell, the photographer takes these pictures of kids and their toys, and it's supposed to be like a wholesome thing, but with Balenciaga, they completely bastardized that and turned it into something very fucking different. So their claim that kids weren't supposed to be there doesn't make any sense considering all of these factors. But this was only the tip of the iceberg, because after this happened, people dug a bit deeper into their 2023 spring catalog and they found this picture. This is an advertisement for a Balenciaga purse, and why is it important? Well, all of those papers that look like a tornado just hit and they're thrown all over the place aren't visible except for one. And if you zoom in on that picture, you can see that it's a 2008 Supreme Court case involving child pornography. And I want to shout out Mudahar here because he did a great job covering all of this. So if you want a deeper look into this whole situation, I highly recommend going to his channel, Some Ordinary Gamers. And that piece of paper that's visible in the shot is all about this case right here, which focused on child pornography as well as like promotion and advertising, shit like that. It's a very weird thing to have in a Balenciaga ad, especially when coupled with their last photo shoot using those little girls. So obviously these two things together made people very upset and very concerned with Balenciaga, like why the fuck is this happening? And Balenciaga responded by suing the ad company that ran the purse one that had the child porn document, calling it extraordinarily reckless and looking for $25 million after the damage that the photos have done to their brand. Now, Balenciaga, it certainly isn't blameless here. Like, Balenciaga didn't just pass these things off to the ad firm here and let them run wild, Hulkmania running wild on their brand without any say-so from Balenciaga. There's no shot. They wouldn't just let them make their own shit and then publish it without Balenciaga ever coming through and approving it. They had to thoroughly go through these things, I imagine, in order to give it the green light. Is it possible with the purse one that they didn't bother to look at that document that was showing? Maybe, but that's still Balenciaga bears a lot of blame there. Take more time to make sure you haven't just been bamboozled by this ad company. And in the other case with the photo shoots involving the children, Balenciaga seems to be the one that was behind that and then just brought a photographer on to take the pictures. Like, that one's entirely on them. So, with that in mind, it's kind of easy to see why people connect the dots that Balenciaga is, for some reason, trying to promote their brand using children in a very inappropriate manner. So that's kind of the gist on that situation, and I'm going to just go ahead and move on to the next one. But again, if you want more information on it, I do think Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers does a great breakdown. But moving on to the next one, this one isn't nearly as serious. The new Mario trailer dropped, and everyone asks me what I think of Chris Pratt's voice. But before I get into that, I'll go ahead and address the Christmas tree being absent in the background. Io is obsessed with eating the branches, which of course is not good for a cat's digestive system. So I've had to remove the tree because she keeps trying to devour it and trying to steal Christmas like the Grinch here, because she just really likes the little branches on it. So that's why that's not there. And yeah, just want to clear that up. But back to Mario. Trailer dropped and a lot of people were debating, does Chris Pratt's voice suck ass as Mario? And people have been asking me what I think, so I'll just go ahead and give my opinion on it. I don't think Chris Pratt would have been a horrible fit if he put more effort into it. It really feels like he just phoned in his whole performance, at least based on this trailer. Of course, the full movie could come out and it could blow me away, I guess. But in this trailer, it feels like he's not even trying. Like, half the times it sounds like he's delivering his lines while he's about to pass out from Xanax. Like, it doesn't really seem like he's giving it his best. Whereas Jack Black as Bowser, I thought fucking crushed it. I think Jack Black was a great casting choice for Bowser. Chris Pratt, I'm definitely not sold on. It doesn't really seem like he's trying. I did, however, watch all of the other languages for this trailer, and I think the best one is the French dub. The French voice actor for Mario, I thought, really went after it and did a great job. But yeah, Chris Pratt, I don't think is really getting the job done for Mario and doing it justice. Of course, you can disagree with me. It's not that big of a deal. I just figured I'd chime in on it. And since we're already on the topic of Nintendo, I'll go ahead and give a shocking update there. Nintendo released a patch for the new Pokemon Scarlet Violet, and they even addressed how awful and unacceptable the performance is of the game, saying that they want to make it better and will make it better, which I nearly shit my pants. I almost fucking flew out of my chair when I read that Nintendo actually acknowledged how awful the state of the game is from a performance perspective. Now, I've said I do like the gameplay of the game, and I understand a lot of people do, but the performance is still unacceptable. Running at 2 frames per second most of the time and having so many bugs and glitches and so many issues, it's definitely not a $60 game with polish. And Nintendo actually acknowledging that is crazy. But one thing they failed to acknowledge is the shutting down of the Smash World Tour, which they did a little over 24 hours ago, coming up on 48 hours actually. Shutting down one of the biggest Smash Brothers circuit that's ever happened, only a couple weeks before it was finally about to wrap up. Nintendo hasn't said anything about that, and nor has Panda, or Alan from Panda, who seemed to have been the puppet master behind this entire evil scheme. None of them have come forward with anything to explain it or give their side of the story, so we're all still waiting on bated breath to see their perspective, but for now it's just radio silence, seeming like all of Panda all at once just evacuated the office to go into hiding, like a fucking rapture hit Panda's organization headquarters, because still nothing from them. I feel like they should address it as quickly as possible, but I believe I heard from HBox that they're getting a very serious statement prepared with like a legal team and everything. For those that don't know, I'll give you a brief recap. I made a video on it yesterday, but I'll just give you like the cliff notes. Smash World Tour, biggest circuit that's ever been held for Smash Brothers professional players. It was about to wrap up. The night before Thanksgiving, Nintendo gave them notice that they can't do it anymore. It's being shut down. Smash World Tour had been in communication with Nintendo directly through the entire duration of the tournament. So this really came out of nowhere. And then it was revealed with the statement from Smash World Tour that it seems more like Panda Cup, the Panda Cup, which was a competing circuit, had a very strong role to play in this shutdown of their tournament. Panda is led by Alan, who is the head of Panda, and it seems like he had been having a history of going around and trying to scare other tournaments into joining the Panda Cup, and if they refused, he started making threats about getting Nintendo to shut them down. This has been confirmed by more than just the Smash World Tour organizers. It's been confirmed by other reputable organizers as well about Alan's behavior. So we really do need a statement from them to talk about their side about this situation, but we don't have it yet. Now, there have been a couple of other big things going on, but I haven't had the chance to really spread the cheeks and get to the bottom of those stories, so I'm going to be doing some more research on those and probably make videos about it later on. Really, the last topic that I want to quickly touch on is the Liver King, who I made a video about yesterday as well. The Liver King, giant fitness influencer, has a lot of businesses, claims to make over $100 million a year based on those businesses, and has always claimed that his physique is naturally obtained, but emails leaked that show that he actually cycles a lot of like HGH and shit like that. So not natty at all, it appears. He still hasn't come forward. He is still actively posting and ignoring it. I believe he still only made that one statement I talked about yesterday where he says he'd like to talk about a complicated issue, referring to this, on podcasts. So he still hasn't been on any yet, but I am excited to see how he explains this because he's already lost the chance to deny it. He didn't say those emails were fake. He said that they highlight a complicated issue. So it seems like he's going to try and tackle these things head on and go over it. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like, but we don't have any developments there either. So this is most things going on in the world at the moment, and I just wanted to get all of it out in one video so that way people stop asking me about all of these individual things. So yeah, this is the giant stew of all of those topics. That's about it. See ya. It's now been over a month since I primarily switched from streaming on Twitch to streaming on YouTube. I spent about 5 or 6 years exclusively in the trenches of Twitch streaming, and now I've recently done a cannonball into the deep end of the pool of the YouTube ecosystem for streams, and I just wanted to debrief on the whole thing because I've been getting asked a lot, not only by chat, but by friends of mine, what the big differences are, what makes one better than the other, which I prefer. And I thought this would be an interesting topic because for a lot of people, Twitch versus YouTube for streaming is a lot like Coke versus Pepsi. They're very similar, but there are subtle differences that make people prefer one over the other. And for streaming, it's obviously Twitch that's the preference. And I just kind of want to go over this whole situation here, let you all take a bite from an apple of my tree of knowledge, and just bestow upon you the sage wisdom that I've been gathering since being on YouTube. Because I am the one that walks between worlds. I'm like fucking John Constantine. So let's just start out with the obvious differences that you'll hear everybody mention. YouTube streaming has no culture to it. It is very bland. It's very vanilla. There's no real identity to YouTube streaming chat culture. And that's not something that you can really teach or artificially integrate into a platform. It's like basketball. You can't teach height. There's certain things you can teach about basketball, but ultimately, there are certain things you can't that'll make you a better basketball player. And for YouTube streaming, that is its chat culture. And let me break down exactly what that means here, because if you don't watch Twitch streams, then what I'm saying right now is a giant nothing burger of mumbo jumbo. Like, what the fuck is chat culture? Well, on Twitch, since it's been around for so long now, the community that watches Twitch streams has grown together and created a very unique identity for itself where it has this DNA that's shared across every streamer's chat on the platform with inside jokes or certain emotes that'll be spammed at certain times during the stream. And it doesn't matter who the streamer is, the chat itself is always in on the same general jokes or emotes and just, it's hard to like actually explain, but if you've ever been on Twitch or streamed on Twitch, you'll know what I mean. There are just certain things in there where instead of just spamming like full conversational texts in a Twitch chat, they'll sum it up with like one line and an emote, you know? There's just so many ways that Twitch chat expresses itself in a way that other platforms don't, and frankly, other platforms just can't. That's not something that you can bring to your platform. It has to happen organically over a long period of time. Twitch has been around for so long, and despite being absolutely massive, the community itself still feels very tight-knit, which makes the streaming and chat experience on Twitch just overall more engaging. On YouTube, it's like Sasquatch. That doesn't exist. And another thing, Twitch does a really good job of making the chats readable. This is a huge thing, actually. Even in the biggest Twitch streams on that platform, you can read the chat because they're smart in that they hold messages for a very small period of time, so that way they come in chunks, which makes it legible. And on YouTube, they don't do that. Ludwig compared it to a sink faucet being turned on, which I think is a beautiful description of it, because it's just this endless flood of gobbledygook. Like, you can't read anything on a YouTube streamer's chat that's popping off because they don't hold anything. It's just real-time blasting you with information, and if you try to read it, your brain is going to blue screen. It's incomprehensible because they don't hold it, which makes it detrimental to the health of a stream and a stream's community, because if you can't engage with your community, they're often not going to stick around. This one actually has a super simple solution I am shocked they haven't implemented yet. Just put the rectangle in the rectangle-shaped hole here. Just hold the messages for a second. Just let them marinate for a second before sending them out, so that way it's not just this endless Star Wars scrolling text of things that nobody can read. Now, I know Ludwig also has an extension called Truffle, which aims to make the chat experience on YouTube more in line with the chat experience on Twitch, and it works pretty well. It is a band-aid to a bit of a boo-boo that YouTube still hasn't, cleaned out properly and fixed, but it does help. So I know there are tools, there are options here, but I feel like YouTube could definitely work on the simple things like the messages. The only thing that it can't really do here is create a chat culture. That's something that's just going to have to happen organically. YouTube can just provide tools and provide a better chat experience from a functionality standpoint. Now, there's two other big differences. The one that everyone's going to mention is discoverability, and I do think that's still correct. Now that I've been on YouTube for a month, I can say with confidence, nobody is finding your stream unless they are already on your channel. There's no way to find streams on YouTube effectively. If you browse the godforsaken wasteland that is the YouTube streaming tab, looking for any kind of interesting stream will be a daunting task. Like, you'd have an easier time having a threesome within the next 10 minutes than you would finding a single interesting stream that you might enjoy. The only way you find streams on YouTube is if you already watch the person that's streaming it. It is extremely difficult to find anything that's of interest to you. And trust me, I've done a lot of exploring here. That needs to be improved. On Twitch, I do think discoverability has suffered over the last few years, but that's just because of the oversaturation of streams in general. But on Twitch, it's far easier to find what you want. You go to the category of the game that sounds appealing, you'll look at the titles, like, oh, this one sounds interesting, fingering butthole for $20. I'll take a peek, is he actually going into the chocolate starfish here for donations? I mean, what's going on here? So then you click on it, and it's a channel you've never seen before, and you maybe give them a chance, and maybe you end up liking the stream. On YouTube, that's not going to happen. You just don't have that happen. It currently just feels like streaming is a bit of an afterthought here. There are some problems that I think could be addressed and could be fixed pretty quickly, and this is one of them. It's been in a pretty bad state for discoverability since its inception. It really feels like it's a secret. Like YouTube is keeping streaming a hush-hush whisper, like just a secret functionality. I think there's a large number of people that don't even know YouTube streams exist. I really think that. Because again, the only way new faces can even find a stream is if it somehow gets recommended to them. And in that case, it's just a gamble. You just have to hope that for some reason you made it into their algorithm and then they saw that you were streaming and maybe wanted to give it a try. But other than that, you're not really going to be seen by people that don't already know of your existence. So as a new streamer just starting out, YouTube is absolutely not the platform for you, I don't think. You'd be streaming to a fucking graveyard. Now, there's one other thing I think Twitch does significantly better than YouTube, and then I want to get into what I think YouTube does better than Twitch. But on Twitch, subscribers is done much better. When you subscribe on Twitch, you all know what it means. It means you're giving money to a streamer. Twitch has something called Prime, where you can get a free sub to a streamer a month, and they get $5, and it costs you nothing. It's an unbeatable service, and something YouTube legitimately can't match unless it wants to start offering an equivalent for YouTube Premium members. So like, if you have YouTube Premium, then you get one free membership to a YouTube streamer per month, so it'd be the same thing as Twitch Prime, but on YouTube. I don't see them doing that because it is such a massive net loss of money for the company. Twitch continues to offer Primes, but they're not doing it with a smile on their face. They're doing that with a big old frown. like the fucking fattest frown of all time. They're praying that you don't remember to use it, because when you use it, it just costs them money, and they get nothing in return for it other than just offering a legitimately unbeatable service. And it's good for the streamers, and it keeps a lot of streamers sticking around, because the primes, I mean, that's a tough thing to beat. So YouTube doesn't have that. But another thing YouTube doesn't have is an identity to its memberships. When you hear subscribe on Twitch, you immediately know what it is. When you hear membership on YouTube, you're left scratching your head going, what are you talking about? Because even when you're looking at the stream, there's no membership button. But then when you're actually watching the stream, you'll notice there's no such thing as the membership button. It's a goddamn lie. What you need to locate is the join button, which in and of itself is kind of in a suboptimal location. It's right next to the subscribe button there, and on mobile, good luck finding that. It's a game of Where's Waldo. But then you click the join button, and then you become a member. But why call it join? That's very confusing. That's super convoluted. Like, if I didn't know what that button did, I would never touch it. I'd avoid it like the plague. Because what are you joining? You joining a Discord channel? You joining the anime club? Like, what are you joining? Joining a newsletter? Or joining a community tab for the channel? Like, it doesn't tell you what it actually is. It should just be called membership or something. Like, it should show you exactly what it is. Because right now, it's a mystery game of what join does, and nobody plays the game. No one's clicking that button. Now, those are like the major differences that I think Twitch does better than YouTube, but I want to talk about some of the things I think YouTube does better than Twitch, because there are a few. The biggest one for me, and I think it is an incredible quality of life change to streaming that I think is a great thing for viewers, it's the ability to rewind a stream. So, on any YouTube stream you go to, you can go back. You can go back and see what you've missed and catch up that way, or just watch like parts of something if you missed a little component of it. You can go back in a stream, which is fantastic. And it's also good for streamers, because then new viewers that come in while you're streaming won't inundate you with questions you've already answered, or won't inundate you with questions about something that you've already done earlier in the stream if they can just rewind it and check before they ask. I am a big fan of the ability to rewind streams, and another thing I'm a huge fan of on YouTube, as opposed to Twitch, is the bitrate. YouTube allows you to stream at a much, much, much higher bitrate than Twitch. I can't believe Twitch is still currently limited to the bitrate that it's at. YouTube doesn't have that problem, so streams generally are looking better on YouTube. That one's super simple. It's just on the technical side of things, YouTube streams look better. I also do think that it runs better on mobile. Twitch mobile to me has been an absolute fucking joke of a service for a long time. YouTube mobile works really well, and that includes watching streams, at least from the few times I've watched streams on my phone over the last month or so. It has been a very smooth experience. I haven't had any problems, whereas on Twitch, anytime I fire up the app to watch on mobile, I had an issue with something. So YouTube is definitely a little better on that front than Twitch. And another thing that I think is really much better on YouTube than Twitch is VODs. VODs, they exist on Twitch, yeah, but no one really checks VODs. In fact, most people that watch a streamer on Twitch will end up watching their VOD or clips from it on YouTube. So YouTube is just a place to go for on-demand content, and that extends to streams as well, because once you're done streaming, it goes to your channel in the live tab. And it's also monetized a lot better than on Twitch when it comes to the VOD content. So if you do ads during your stream, there's more value. You get more out of that than you do on Twitch. And that extends to the VODs, where your VODs are automatically monetized with ads and certain breaks during it. So you get a lot more revenue-wise from your on-demand content on YouTube versus Twitch. But again, that only applies if you've already established yourself on YouTube, or like TikTok and push to YouTube. You've already got an audience on YouTube. That only applies in that case. If you're just starting, this means nothing. Like, because this is just a bunch of fish paste. You won't be found easily as a YouTube streamer. Thus, your VOD monetization isn't going to matter at all. Also, one more thing, this one's not a big deal, but it is kind of cool and a little silly. You get to choose your own thumbnail for your YouTube streams, whereas on Twitch, it's just random moments from the stream. In fact, I had one time when playing through Cyberpunk that my cock slider, like when I was playing around with his penis to change the size of it, was my thumbnail for a while. And it's not like you have any say in that, it's just Twitch generating those thumbnails for your stream. YouTube, you have full control over it. I haven't really been utilizing it to its full potential. I've just been getting like really up close to the camera and making like a face or just staring blankly at it, which kind of is like a jump scare when the notifications go out. But yeah, the ability to make your own thumbnail for YouTube streams, I think is actually a pretty good thing. I think it's cool. But it also brings me to another problem. I just mentioned notifications when my stream goes live. That's not commonplace. Notifications aren't exactly the norm for YouTube streams. Very few people get them. I was actually talking to Danny about it like 2 weeks ago. Danny has no idea when I go live, and he's subscribed with the bell and all of that shit, but still, that notification doesn't really get sent out. Whereas on Twitch, you know what you're there for. You're there for streams. So you'll get notification for streams. YouTube, you're not really there for streams. Nobody's really there for streams. They're there for the VODs, their video content. So when a stream notification is supposed to go out, a lot of people either won't get it, A, or B, don't really know like what the fuck is going on because it's a kind of long notification. It's the red icon, channel name, stream now, and then title, and then thumbnail. So it's kind of a lot, and a lot of people will immediately disregard it. So it's hard to let people know, even if you already have an audience on YouTube, when you're actually live. It makes it difficult to find the live streams for a lot of people, which is a complaint I've heard not only from Danny in real life, but from quite a few people who do tune into the streams from time to time because they just genuinely don't know when they go live. Whereas on Twitch, that's never really a problem because everyone knows when you're live when the notification goes out. So another thing I just wanted to briefly mention here at the end. But anyway, let's get to the conclusion now. If you're someone that's just starting streaming and wants to grow as a streamer, Twitch is 100% the platform for you, no doubt. But if you are someone that already has an established YouTube audience that wants to just dabble in streaming occasionally, it's certainly a viable option, for sure. I will say that I think Ludwig was also right about something else where he said YouTube as a streaming platform is one that's best served with intermittent streams as opposed to daily. Whereas on Twitch, the most important thing you can do is just be alive. As a Twitch streamer, you find the most success through consistency. Just being there is enough to, over time, grow or maintain an audience because a lot of people go to Twitch just for comfort, background noise or something. So as long as you're there for that, you'll find success through just consistency. YouTube is kind of the opposite. No one's going to YouTube streams for the comfort or anything. They're going there for the novelty of it right now because, again, it's not why you go to YouTube. So if you see a stream and you're like, oh, this sounds interesting, then you check it out for a little bit and you need to capture those viewers' attention. And usually if you're just doing daily streams, you're not coming up with innovative new creative ideas for every stream. So there's a good chance someone tunes in and they're not interested in the game or whatever you're doing, so they just leave. So Twitch is really good for daily streams. YouTube, you'll probably find more success if every stream is a unique one. A big thing to think about when streaming on YouTube is, does this stream work well as a VOD? And if the answer to that is yes, then YouTube is a really good streaming platform because you can stream it live, you can engage with the community live, and then it lives on as a VOD, which is very monetized effectively, and can enter the YouTube video algorithm so you can get new eyes on the video content itself, assuming, of course, it gets picked up and it's like a good VOD. Twitch, that doesn't happen. Once the stream is done, very few people are going to look for the VOD on Twitch. They'll look for it on YouTube first. So all in all, my impression on the big picture thing is anything that works really well as a live stream is going to perform better on Twitch than YouTube, most likely, because more people outside of just your core audience can find that content on Twitch while it's live. But once that live stream is over, that VOD content will work much better on YouTube than it will on Twitch because, again, no one's really watching VODs on Twitch that often. Most of the time, it's getting eyes on YouTube, and YouTube itself can pick it up, and they do monetize it in a much better way than Twitch does. So that's kind of like the overall impression of everything I've had so far on both streaming platforms. Again, I've only been streaming on YouTube consistently for the last month and a half, whereas I spent 5 years on Twitch. So maybe my impression of YouTube will change over the next few months or the next year or so. We'll see. But I just wanted to report on all of this. I will say that I think YouTube streaming right now is a lot better than it was when I streamed on here 6 years ago or whatever it was. They have made a lot of improvements, that's for damn sure. But there's still a lot of wiggle room here for more improvements. There's still a lot of room to grow for them. So yeah, just wanted to put all this out there. That's really about it. See ya. Hey, what's up? It's me again, the Rotten Tomatoes for Twitch, here to critique yet another huge change coming to Twitch. I know this is the 10th time I made a video joking about and talking about Twitch things, but I can't help it. I'm passionate about it. I fucking stream on there daily, so obviously I want it to be the best platform it can be. So when a big change or decision is made over there, whether it's good or bad, I like to do what a high school stoner likes to do after their first hit of marijuana. Talk about it. So what we'll be talking about today is the unveiling of Twitch's new Safety Advisory Council. There may have been no E3 this year, but we still got a huge fucking announcement here thanks to Twitch. In a nutshell, this Jedi Council consists of both members of the Twitch streaming community as well as experts outside of it to weigh in on decisions made on the platform as well as potential policies going forward and changes to existing policies, making things clearer, shit like that. I'll throw my nutsack out here to be abused for a minute here by going against the grain and saying, on paper, I actually think this is a good idea. By having faces attached to decisions on the platform, people can actually feel like their voices can be heard. Whereas the entire history of Twitch has just had faceless people making these decisions behind the scenes, you know, pulling the strings on the marionettes and making them dance for these weird policies and weird favoritism. Well, now, with this council here, there are actual streamers, very popular streamers attached to it that you can communicate with and get answers from. We don't know how much power this council is going to have, which still leads to a lot of confusion, but just the fact that they're taking a step in putting faces to decisions going forward, I think is a step in the right direction and making people feel like their voices can at least be heard. But I will say, I hate the fucking name of this. The Safety Advisory Council sounds dystopian. That sounds like something out of Judge Dredd. Just fucking pull up to an apartment complex over a noise complaint. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the Safety Advisory Council. Your noise was too high, too many decibels. You've been canceled. Fucking puts a bullet in their skull. It's just not a good name. That doesn't really instill confidence in people that hear that. Now, looking at the people aboard the council, I only know two of them, Carnage and Ziz. Admittedly, I'm unfamiliar with the others, but I'm going to give Twitch the benefit of the doubt that these are good fits for their positions. But Carnage and Ziz in particular, I think are excellent fits here. I'm familiar with both their content. I actively watch and I've tuned into Ziz occasionally. And I think both of them have a very good understanding of Twitch culture as well as understanding exactly what is and is not allowed and how to make policies more clear, as well as what policies should not even be there in the first place. As said during one of his streams about this, he's actively fighting to make sure there's not too many rules that start suffocating the creators, and I think that is the absolute best way of approaching something like this with this kind of responsibility. Now, as I said, I don't know the majority of people on that list, but I am giving them the benefit of the doubt. However, one of them in particular, named Steph, has recently shown that the power is kind of getting to them in a certain way. And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's really hard to have a positive opinion of the Safety Advisory Council right now due to the drama that she's stirring up on her own personal streams.
Can't get rid of me. Twitch is endorsing me, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm just gonna dance to your sad tears. I'm just gonna drink your tears.
This is her celebrating the fact that she's no longer subject to bans on Twitch due to her position, and I think this just lacks taste. Twitch has been a platform that's been plagued by very odd bans that have ruined lives, so for her to come out here and say that nothing will ever happen to her because of her position and rub it in the face of people who have been wronged by bans like that, I think just shows a real lack of care for the people on the platform. Now, I'm not here to humiliate or belittle Steph in any way. I already know a lot of people are going to point out that viral clip of her where she's role-playing as a deer having an orgasm on a stream. Yes, I think it's odd to broadcast that on Twitch, but it's not pertinent to what I want to talk about. And you know me, I like to joke about those odd fetishes all the time, like that person that steps on bread and ejaculates in their pants. I think that shit is just really fun to make some jokes about, but they're just that. They're harmless jokes. I never like to maliciously target someone or try and ruin someone's life over a kink or anything like that. Whereas in this case, I feel like people are going beyond just goofing around. They're genuinely trying to ruin her life over that deer clip, and I just wouldn't want to play a part in that. On a side note, before continuing though, that person that was stepping on the bread and ejaculating, they actually reached out to me like a year ago, offering to teach me how to do it properly. So they were super nice. They enjoyed the video. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So if you see me stepping on bread and coming in my pants, you know I was taught by the master. Immediately after Twitch announced that she's a member of this council, she went live and started antagonizing the broad Twitch community, in particular live stream fails. I also fucking hate live stream fails. I think that place is a cesspool. It's basically just an XQC cum dumpster. Anytime XQC moves in his chair or makes even the slightest micro expression on his face, it's like a 30-second clip that's spammed for an hour. That subreddit is literally a time capsule into old Tumblr. It's like maintain the essence, that old fucking odor of Tumblr. It has this two camps. It's like a perpetual civil war. one camp that loves fake manufactured drama and getting invested in these reality TV shows on Twitch, and this camp that pretends to hate it, but what they love is loud, screeching, jingling key clips, but they also still do love that fake drama, so then they'll come together and start upvoting all these drama things, and then they start attacking each other. It's a weird community, and no one hates livestream fails more than livestream fails community hates themselves. It's really weird. It's not a good subreddit. So I totally understand why the majority of streamers don't even like it in the first place, but what Steph has done is she's taken livestream fails and put that as the face of Twitch itself. So instead of just attacking some of the bad actors on livestream fails, she's attacking everybody on Twitch for a ton of different things.
Well, I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all. It's really not that. I think a lot of you gamers are actually white supremacists. Sorry. Just a fact of how I feel, which isn't a big deal.
That's such a fucked up thing to say, especially on a platform like Twitch, which is primarily composed of gamers. Not to go like 90s back of the cereal box slogan, but Twitch is literally like extreme gamer zone territory. So to outright vilify gamers by calling a lot of them white supremacists is so beyond disrespectful, and especially given your position as a member of the Safety Advisory Council. How does that make anyone feel confident about the decisions you'll make in that council going forward when you clearly already have a clear disdain for gamers on that platform, a platform that you now represent in a very high level capacity, at least judging by the announcement? So it's just very odd because you're coming across as openly hateful and proudly prejudiced.
I said a lot of people with cis white male sounding voices are here telling me that voice chat isn't a problem, and that is a fact. Y'all have voices that aren't marginalized coming in and saying, just mute, it's not an issue. Everyone faces harassment. I've heard it all. You're just repeating my like a year ago. The only way to have a level playing field at the highest level of play is to have is to not have voice chat, to not have people give up their linguistic profiles. I mean, and maybe you...
It was this opinion that really sparked the majority of outrage initially, because she firmly believes that voice chat really shouldn't exist in the first place. Now, I want to make it clear she's in no way going to developers lobbying to have it removed or anything. She's simply sharing her opinion that she doesn't believe that it should be an integral part of games, and the majority of gamers understandably disagree, because without a voice chat, what the fuck are you supposed to do with your teammates in like a game of Valorant? Use the in-game voice commands and just spam no? Or in Rocket League, nice save? Like, if you don't have voice chat, you have no way of really communicating with your team to win games. But for Steph, she believes that it's an unfair advantage or disadvantage depending on the sound of the person's voice who's using the voice chat. She argues that those with a marginalized voice have to resort to blocking and muting toxic players in their lobbies, which inhibits their ability to communicate and win the games. And that's a fair point. That shit absolutely does happen. Anytime a girl talks in like a fucking Overwatch lobby or Valorant, dudes will fucking dogpile on that like they're recovering a fumble in the Super Bowl. They're either getting flirted with or just outright insulted and harassed. That absolutely is very commonplace, and you're lying to yourself if you think it's not. It is, regrettably. And not to downplay the issue, but everyone gets harassed in voice chat when it comes to like higher level play or just toxic assholes in general. It's not a problem that's exclusive to women or voices that are marginalized. In video games like that, there are just toxic assholes, and it's not just voice chat, it's everywhere. If you take away voice chat, text chat becomes extremely toxic. League of Legends has notoriously one of the most toxic communities around, and there's no voice chat there, it's only text. When I was addicted to League of Legends, I never felt so fucking bad about myself because of that voice chat, or text chat. So it's not an issue with just voice chat in general, it's just there's assholes in the world. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. But luckily, thanks to the incredible advancements in technology, we found the solution. We have the answer. It's called just muting the assholes, blocking them. You don't have to hear these things. You can always block people that are just outright rude and nasty. So I understand her opinion, and I do agree that the harassment in voice chat, especially for women, is pretty fucking nuts these days, but you can just not hear it by muting them. And yeah, it does suck having to mute your teammates, but if the alternative is just taking away voice chat entirely, it's better than the alternative. Now again, I think there's nothing wrong with having this opinion from her, and I don't think it's means to just outright harass and berate her. The problem is the way that she approaches getting these ideas across and her beliefs. She's very standoffish, and anyone who disagrees with her she immediately labels as either a white supremacist or an overly privileged cis white male. She seems to enjoy attacking the community she's supposed to be representing and looking out for, like with the first clip I showed, dancing about her immunity from Twitch because they now formally endorse her into this council, and she's saying how she's just going to drink the tears of the people who are upset about the things she says. So, and she bans everyone in her chat that happens to disagree. Now, don't get me wrong, she does ban actual douchebags that deserve it, but she also just bans people that are asking simple questions or just happen to disagree, but not just banning them, labeling them some very nasty titles, which I just think is wrong. Asmongold said it best when he said this kind of behavior really shouldn't be accepted from someone at that position, because imagine if someone said something different that wasn't cis white male, you know? What if someone said gays are ruining the voice chat so we need to remove voice chat? Instead of saying cis white males are ruining voice chat, what if it was replaced by gays? Whoever said that would be immediately removed from that platform and permaban, because that wouldn't be accepted. And rightfully so. Nobody should be judged by their skin color or sexual orientation, attacked for their skin color or sexual orientation, put into these groups and vilified because of their skin color or sexual orientation. Racism is bad. Racism, discrimination, hating people for choices they make with their own body, all of it, bad. Very bad. But because she's the one saying it about cis white males, for some reason it's not only accepted, but it is endorsed by Twitch, which I think, and most streamers and most people on the platform think, is not a good thing and sets a very fearful precedent, and is immediately kind of dividing the community about safety advisory versus the community, which is the absolute worst thing, because on paper it seems like the council was supposed to be a way to bridge this gap where we can finally have real communication between Twitch power and just the people on the platform. But unfortunately, there's already a divide being caused. But I am still genuinely hopeful that the council will be something positive for the platform, because this is a step in the right direction, at least the idea and the theory of it, by having actual members of the community representing the community's interest in a higher capacity, I think is a great step. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, and that's it. So yeah. Hello. I don't really feel like $1,000,000 today, that's for sure. I'm not exactly, feeling all chipper or anything, but I thought that this was important enough to come on in here and talk about. Now, I know most of you know this by now, but I've kind of retired the jersey number when it comes to drama reporting. I don't really talk about drama in general, unless it's like really weird or wacky stuff like, the Secret Service shitter, where that Secret Service agent broke into someone's house to drop a floater. But aside from that, I just don't really make content around that anymore. But I had to make an exception for this story today. Yesterday, I mentioned that I was going down the 40k Warhammer lore rabbit hole, and then I got randomly fed like lemonade stand crimes that bled into the algorithm for some reason, and then I ended up going down that rabbit hole. Well, I also got fed a deep humor drama rabbit hole. Now, I filmed some of this yesterday when I wasn't feeling as dog shitty, and so you're going to see some flip-flop in here where I don't seem that, miserable, and then I'm going to cut in with a jump scare where I do feel miserable. So you're going to be seeing a lot of twists and turns, not only in the story we're covering, but in like the condition of Charles presenting it.
So there is a YouTuber that is also named Deep Humor that is pretty much trying to take my name on Twitter, and they have messaged me and demanded the name Deep Humor. This channel makes videos in Turkish where it seems to be some types of street interviews and scenarios. I think they're supposed to be comedy videos. This was a video that I made 6 years ago in August of 2018. Here's what I had to say in the video.
So I was on Social Blade, marveling at the 5 subs that I get every single month. Then I noticed something.
Basically, this YouTuber named Deep Humor for 6 years has been dealing with a channel that goes by Deep Humor as well, drowning him out in the YouTube algorithm to the point where you can't find his channel unless you go to like a direct link or scroll to like the very bottom, like godforsaken territory on page 2 of YouTube search. So, this is a video he made back in 2018 when he first became aware that there was another Deep Humor YouTube channel that had the same name and even the same logo, a logo that he himself whipped up. So, this has been an ongoing issue that he's dealt with since the very beginning of his channel.
They have the same name and the same logo that I made myself. with little effort, but still.
He goes on to say in that video that he's not particularly bothered, more just surprised that someone would take his name and logo when he only had 78 subscribers at the time. I've got a little fan theory here. I think that the Deep Humor channel that took the logo didn't even know that this YouTuber existed. I think what happened is they just Googled Deep Humor, went to Google Images, and this guy's channel profile pic popped up, and he said, that one. And then he just right-clicked Save As, and then used it for his channel. I don't think he ever even found the YouTuber's channel, but that's just my little tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. It doesn't really change anything, because the fact of the matter remains he clearly did take his channel profile pic. And over the course of months, that Deep Humor impersonator channel started to gain steam, thousands of subs and hundreds of thousands of views, which changed his perspective on it because now his channel couldn't be found, because it would only go to that channel, once again using his same name and logo. Even though the content was wildly different, Turkish street interviews versus English commentary videos, it is still obvious that they used his logo that he made. He also mentions that Deep Humor isn't the most unique name in the world. That's like the John Smith of YouTube handles. Millions of people could have thought of that. He's 100% right.
Obviously, if you make a YouTube channel called Deep Humor, it's not a big deal because that's quite an ambiguous name. It's not like it's something super unique. It is, a name that somebody else could have thought of.
The issue wasn't really in the name itself. It was the combination of his channel logo being taken with that name. It made it so no one could ever find his channel, because now there's two with the same name, same logo, and YouTube's always going to push the more popular one.
I don't even know what the fuck this guy's uploading anymore. Let's go look at his stupid channel. And
Interestingly enough, that channel did actually end up getting banned for copyright infringement. But just like a Hydra, you cut off one Deep Humor head, two more take its place.
I don't know if you guys had caught in the Social Blade part of my video, that channel was actually made on June 21st, 2017. And remember that you can change your YouTube channel username, channel art at any time. The reason why I am mentioning that is because all of a sudden after this guy had gotten banned, maybe a month or two afterwards, there was another channel that popped up called Deep Humor. This channel was made in 2016, which is actually even before my channel was made.
He states that a month after Deep Humor Judgment Day, there was a new one that popped up, which was the current one right here. Same content, Turkish street interviews, but now it's called Deep Humor. So he speculates that the name was changed. And I think he's probably right, because when you were searching Deep Humor back in 2018, that channel would have absolutely popped up. Since it was made in 2016 and this channel has been popular for a while, it would have been in the search, but it wasn't. So what likely happened is after that channel got banned, the person behind it went to this channel and changed the name to Deep Humor, but this time didn't use the same logo that had just got their previous account banned. That's what I think happened, and seems to be what the real Deep Humor seems to think as well.
And so in another video where I had talked about this, people were getting on me saying, oh, but this person made their channel before you, so how did they copy you? Well, they copied me because they clearly just changed their YouTube username to Deep Humor, which, like I said, anyone can do at any time. I believe this is the same person that had gotten banned all those years ago, and that same person who had originally taken my YouTube channel icon. Why do I believe this? Because just like that channel so many years ago, this channel also makes Turkish street videos.
This is still just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. This is going to turn into a full reverse flash situation for Deep Humor. Like, this is the reverse Deep Humor. So that kind of sums up the genesis of this Deep Humor war here. And now we get to where things get very spicy and it gets out of control quick.
I don't want your Twitter page. I just want your username in exchange for money. How much can you give? I just said, hello, how much money are you offering? Obviously, if they offered me like $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever, I would probably give them the username because it's real life and I do need that type of money. And I don't really make any money off YouTube, unfortunately, mainly because of this guy.
The battlefield shifts from YouTube to Twitter as Deep Humor receives an interesting DM from this gentleman, saying that he wants to purchase the Deep Humor username for his Twitter page, and he's offering him $50. 50 clams, and he doesn't even have the courtesy to throw in an over-the-pants hand job. And he couldn't even wait more than 6 minutes before just going mask off, revealing that he's the villain. He goes, "What's your answer, buddy?" He's treating this like it's a scene out of fucking Pulp Fiction. What does Deep Humor look like? Does he look like a bitch? Like, it's like, man, you didn't even give him time to process that. He's acting like a virgin who's not getting immediate text back from his love interest, you know? Like, it's been 3 minutes. Do you hate me? Is that what's going on here? Like, holy shit, man. It's not like you just made him some kind of life-changing offer here. It's not like you just opened up a briefcase full of money for the Deep Humor channel. You offered him $50 out of nowhere for the Deep Humor Twitter page. And then only 9 minutes after the "what's your answer, buddy," he gets even more douchey and hostile, saying, "Come on, man, I don't want your page, I just want your username. Look, you don't have any interaction on Twitter, so losing this username won't cause you any loss." What an asshole, and also what a terrible businessman. Yeah, I can't wait to sell you this Deep Humor username now that you've insulted me. I'd love to shake hands on that, you piece of shit. Like, what? I'll never understand people like this. It has not even been, like, half an hour since you've reached out and made an offer. How can you be this impatient and this much of an asshole? I really don't get it. I don't know how anyone can ever expect to have a positive outcome acting like this.
So I just straight up send him a picture of those two channels and I say, "Is this your YouTube channel?" And then he says, "No, man, if only I had this big channel, then I could pay you much more. I only have one YouTube channel and I have 2 subscribers there." And he puts a sad face. He sends me some YouTube channel, and for some reason he even sends me the date the YouTube channel was created. Now, if you look at when they created the YouTube channel, it was created in 2016. This is a channel that he claims is his personal channel that he sent to me. This channel was created in 2016, and remember, he's also a Turkish gentleman. Let's go over to the YouTube channel Deep Humor that I claim is impersonating me, also a Turkish YouTuber, also channel created in 2016.
Something's definitely fishy there. That smell is smelling a little smelly if you ask me. This Turkish guy reaches out about purchasing Deep Humor from him, and then links his YouTube channel, which has 2 subs. Why could he possibly want the Deep Humor username? His YouTube channel has less interaction than the guy he's insulting, and his Twitter page is more dead than Concord. What would be the reason behind him wanting to purchase Deep Humor so badly that he is literally furiously typing at his keyboard the second he doesn't get an immediate response? Doesn't really add up. And it is interesting that his personal YouTube page that he sends the date of its creation of for some reason is the same year as the Deep Humor Turkish Street Interview page. That is quite a coinky-dink.
Why is he demanding the Twitter handle Deep Humor from me? Because he already has everything else. Instagram/Deep Humor, Facebook.com/Deep Humor, and TikTok @Deep Humor. This Twitter handle, Deep Humor, this is all I got over him. This is like that last fucking Infinity Stone in his Infinity Gauntlet that he's trying to get.
And that's pretty much where Chapter 1 closes here on the Deep Humor saga. But it's also what leads to, by far, the biggest catastrophe in this war. This is a tragedy, and it's one that many YouTubers know all too well. The Deep Humor Turkish Street Interview page files a copyright strike on the Deep Humor commentary YouTuber.
Okay, so I'm going to try to keep my composure during this because this is just such BS, but my video talking about me losing my channel potentially just got copyright striked by the Deep Humor that I pretty much proved is copying me. This Deep Humor right over here.
A false copyright strike. The first blood has been drawn here. This is a huge sin online, to file a fraudulent strike on another channel. Deep Humor, the real one, never even used a single second of the other channel's videos, ever. There was nothing that they could even potentially make an argument for as a justification for taking down that video. The sole reason is because it made them look really bad. That is why they did it.
So YouTube messages me and says, "Hello, we received a copyright takedown request for your video. However, the takedown request is missing some legally required information."
The video actually got reinstated pretty quickly after the takedown because Goober forgot to put in some required information, which is still very alarming that he was even able to successfully take it down when he completely forgot half of the required shit. But that ended up sending Deep Humor the reason for the takedown. So, statement regarding the allegedly infringing work. And this guy said, "My work of art." I think it's worth mentioning that this guy's channel is re-uploads of other people's work that he just edits together. He is a compilation channel. He credits some of the original artists, sure, but it's not like he has a work of art. He is taking shit that he sees on Instagram that he goes, haha, he downloads it and then puts it on YouTube. Like, to have the gall, the fucking chutzpah, to defend yourself like this, calling it a work of art, and trying to take down and silence someone who is making a very real case for why you have been a huge headache for them, is just, it's almost comical if it wasn't so sad and pathetic. Now, I know there's probably a lot of people watching this saying, well, why didn't one of them just change their name? And I get that perspective. I'm glad the commentary channel didn't fold here and stuck to their guns, like defending the deep humor title, being loyal to it. I don't understand why the Turkish Street Interview channel didn't change their name at some point. The previous one got fucking banned. And it's not like the name Deep Humor even really fits the content that he's posting. He is a compilation of Turkish street interviews. Why wouldn't you have that name also match that content? It doesn't make sense to me. Instead of being Deep Humor 1 and Deep Humor 2, he could have just had a different name. And he also admits to changing his Instagram name, I think it was 7 times. So it's not like he's had deep humor since the beginning of the fucking Big Bang or anything. He is open to changing his shit around. Why wouldn't he do that for this? It makes no sense to me. Anyway, though, looking at this further, type of work, copyrighted logo. Where does the content appear? The content is located between 0 seconds and 34 minutes in the target video. Hey, Buster, the video is 15 minutes long. How the fuck could your logo appear in 34 minutes of that? Are you stuck in like the hyperbolic time chamber or something? What are you even watching? Jesus Christ. And now we get to the current day here, the most recent update where Deep Humor 1 left a response in the comment section. So he says that he watched the video after the comments, he's never seen the channel before in his life, he's been using the name on Instagram since the end of 2015, saying that old followers will remember that. He was only making edits on Instagram, had nothing to do with YouTube. There were a ton of channels using that name, uploading his edits, and at that time, due to his financial situation, he sold the Instagram account, paying royalties to all channels that used his videos, and most likely the channel that was shown throughout all this, the one that used the Deep Humor's logo, he's saying most likely that was one of his channels that he had taken down.
Someone else replied and said, you do have a Twitter account, because who else would ask for that handle? That account had a Turkish flag, so you know because he's you. Also about the Instagram stuff, you say you have the username since 2015, but it shows that you have this account since December 2019, and you have changed your username 7 times. Suspicious. He replies and said, I don't need to buy a username because everyone in Turkey already knows me. Definitely gonna win the Humble Person of the Year award right there. Your friend's concept is different from mine, and even our languages aren't the same.
He claims that it wasn't him on Twitter that reached out about buying the Deep Humor name. He thinks it was someone that was reaching out to purchase it from the OG Deep Humor in order to sell it to Deep Humor 1. Fair enough, like, there's no way to prove it's the same person, but that is an interesting plan. To purchase the Deep Humor name for $50 to try and sell it to the Deep Humor Turkish Street Interview channel. I don't know how popular Deep Humor as a name is in Turkey that there'd be multiple people wanting it so badly.
Okay, here we go. Someone says, if it's just a misunderstanding and you're correct in everything, then why did you try to copy strike his video down? You could have just talked about it. Because in the video, your friend is making false accusations and slandering me. Let me stop you right there. That's not why you copyright striked me, though. You did not copyright strike me for slander or harassment or whatever you're claiming. You copyright strike me because apparently I used your copyrighted logo. So you're giving one reason, and then you're copyright striking me for another reason. For me to do this on this channel because my Turkish audience won't understand anything and it'll only make things more complicated, the copyright strike was just a warning. This sentence is more incriminating than anything that you have ever said. You just said that you gave me a false copyright strike to warn me.
Not exactly the biggest pro-gamer move I've ever seen here, but maybe I just can't wrap my tiny brain around his galaxy brain plan. He openly admits that the strike was a warning. You're admitting to a fraudulent strike, you know that, right? You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. And he's just openly stating it. It's not something to be proud of that you falsely struck someone as some kind of show of power or whatever. He then also makes a subtle threat of potential legal action that he might decide to take. So he's really being a big asshole and openly admitting to something that you're not allowed to do, which is file a fraudulent strike. And he had no ground to stand on, even if he tried to make an argument for it, because his logo being shown once or twice in that video is not an issue at all in the first place. This is him being a petty douchebag. Now, he has made a response, and in the response, he did prove two things.
Yüksek ihtimal bu Türk adam aldı YouTube kullanıcı adını. Ben kapattırdım. Ben YouTube'da da yokum ya o zaman. Sadece Instagram'dayım. Ben kapattırır kapattırmaz bu arkadaş gitti kullanıcı adını aldı. Deep Humor'ı. Yani şu anda bana dua etmesi lazım o arkadaşın. Günahını da almak istemiyorum. Ya da kullanacak mıydı? Çünkü bayağı bir popüler Türkiye'de. Ya bana satmaya çalışacaktı ya kendi kullanacaktı.
Ya bir şey söyleyeyim mi? Gerçekten bunlar beyin fukarası bak yemin ederim. Bak o videoda mutlaka izle. Bana atmış ekran görüntüsünü. Demiş ki bu YouTube kanalı senin mi demiş. Ben de demişim ki hayır benim değil. Kendi kanalıma atmış.
The vast majority of the video is him talking about some awful comments and some emails that he's gotten as a result of this, and he blames Deep Humor for it, saying that he leads them and herds them like sheep to harass him, which is just an outright lie. In pretty much every video Deep Humor's made about this, he tells people not to. He doesn't encourage that behavior at all. He shuts that shit down to the best of his ability, but because the story got so big, there's a lot of people who do that kind of garbage. And it's a terrible thing. Like, he's not wrong to be upset about it, but he is incorrect in saying that it is Deep Humor's fault. I'm relying on Google Translate here, so I don't know how accurate this is, but he shows his inbox where he has takedowns filed back in 2018, so presumably one of those channels was the one that started this whole hoopla, which was the channel that took the OG Deep Humor's channel logo. He then also proves that the account that reached out to Deep Humor through Twitter about purchasing the Deep Humor username is not him. He reached out to that same guy and had a conversation with him about it, where the two just kept exchanging insults at Deep Humor, and that dude even sent like 2 voice messages where he was calling him like an idiot, and then making some shit up about how the OG Deep Humor was talking about something being illegal or whatever. So I mean, that also confirms a third thing, that Twitter guy is a massive piece of shit. That guy super sucks. He is a turbo asshole. What Deep Humor's response fails to address, even loosely, is the fraudulent copyright strike that he filed. He also deleted his previous comments, so I can't go back through them. At least, I don't think I can. I can't find them anymore. So he instead deleted the evidence where he openly admitted that it was fraudulent and a warning, and now in his response never brings that up for some very peculiar reason. That's so weird.
So basically he goes on for a while here, but basically he's saying the guy that I showed that DM'd me on Twitter isn't him. But the reason why I thought it was him is because of all the random coincidences coming together all at once. Coincidence number 1, Turkish Street YouTube channel takes my username and icon on August 2018. Coincidence number 2, on October 2018, that channel impersonating me gets banned, and then all of a sudden you pop out of nowhere less than 3 months later with the name Deep Humor also making Turkish Street content. Coincidence number 3, a random Turkish dude that has taken a weird interest in the name Deep Humor messages me on Twitter demanding the username. Could I have been wrong about all 3 coincidences? Of course, but am I unreasonable for leaning towards that conclusion? I don't think so. I feel like that makes total sense.
I agree, it's not an unreasonable conclusion to draw given all the circumstances, and it's something that could have been solved with the first video and none of the messiness with a fraudulent strike and all of that hoopla. Deep Humor 1 could have easily reached out and explained it to him, or just leave a comment on the video. Deep Humor 1 fucking loves the YouTube comment system. He leaves like 40 of those bitches all the time on all of his videos. He could have absolutely just left a comment on that first video, which he was clearly aware of since he struck it. He could have just left a comment explaining like, hey, you've got this wrong. That's not me on Twitter. That was not me back in 2018 that had your channel icon or anything like that. And then explain it. Like, that would have been super simple and it would have solved this right away.
And then he says, hello, my friend, the copyright was not fake. My logo was legally copyrighted and licensed. We have pretty much already kind of proved that this is false. Not his logo being copyrighted and licensed, but the fact that me making a 15-minute commentary/criticism video where I show his logo every now and then does not constitute as copyright infringement. That is protected under fair use. I've actually even talked to a few lawyers about this now, and they've all confirmed for me that that is fair use. Perfect point right over here. You don't send copyright claims over someone lying about you. That's an abuse of the copyright system. My friend, it seems you're not very knowledgeable about copyright. If I wanted to, I could have sent a notice to his channel for damaging the brand name or even filed a defamation for him, but I didn't.
Basically, he just keeps saying he could have done a lot worse but chose not to. Instead, he played it soft with just a copyright strike. One that he could not possibly enforce at all. Showing his fucking channel logo for a couple of seconds in the video is not grounds for a copyright strike. If the whole thing was about him being wrong in his assumption that you were the one reaching about the username, that is something that you could have solved with a single fucking comment about it instead of a strike. You can't weaponize frivolous strikes like this. I don't know why he can't understand that. And I think he does, which is why he didn't mention it at all in his video to his audience. Instead, he goes to the comment section where a lot less people are going to see how big of an asshole he is. It is so interesting that he can't wrap his head around him being the cause for this being such a big deal. His decision to strike this channel has led to it being this massive drama as opposed to what it started as, which was just like this weird, wacky story. Anyway, though, that's where the deep humor saga concludes for now. That's really about it. So, yeah. All of you know I like to collect shiny trading cards, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering. There's just something about a holographic card that just activates all the neurons in my tiny little primitive smooth brain and makes me clap and have a smile on my face. Now, I've collected cards for a long time, and Wizards of the Coast has produced a lot of the cards I've collected, early Pokemon sets and Magic the Gathering, for example. And what they've recently done to another collector is unforgivably cruel. They unleashed the fucking Pinkertons to go to this man's house and scare him and his wife and confiscate some Magic the Gathering booster boxes that he had recently purchased. That sounds like the plot to a Breaking Bad episode when someone didn't fully compensate Tuco for the drugs they bought. Now, the reason there was an issue with his purchase is because the YouTuber made a video showcasing the boxes that he got, and it turns out the boxes he received were not the ones that he actually ordered. He had ordered a booster box set called March of the Machine, but what he received was March of the Machine, The Aftermath, which was an unreleased set, and he unveiled the cards a month early. It was a leak, and it was a problem with the distribution because the names are so similar. He believes what happened is the person he tried to purchase March of the Machine boxes from accidentally sent him the unreleased boxes because the names were so similar and they got confused. But he didn't steal the product or anything like that. He didn't knowingly purchase unreleased product. He just got sent the wrong thing. But Wizards of the Coast, they took this as an affront to God. I'm sure all of you have heard the name Pinkertons before because they were literally the bad guys in Red Dead. Like, they have existed for 170 years. I had no idea they were still around. I thought they went extinct like fucking 100 years ago. But they still currently operate today. And Wizards of the Coast dusted off the old hotline right to their desk and ordered an operation for them. I'm not here to do a deep dive on the history of the Pinkertons. They engaged in a lot of terrifying shit a long time ago, and I don't know to what capacity they still operate and do business today, but just their reputation enough is horrifying, and the fact that Wizards of the Coast used them as their first means of communication with this YouTuber is frightening. As far as I know, Wizards of the Coast didn't make any attempts to directly communicate with the YouTuber to resolve the situation without making a big hoopla out of it. It seems they just immediately, slapped the Pinkertons on the ass and told them, get out there, sport. Time to engage Operation Pinkerton Pain Train, and then sent them right to the man's doorstep. And when I was reading about this story and watched the video the content creator posted about the situation, I immediately pictured Wizards of the Coast higher-ups donning these dark cloaks put over their head, kind of like Darth Sidious in Star Wars, sitting around this giant table like an Austin Powers supervillain lair, brainstorming on the best course of action to reclaim the stolen goods, even though it wasn't stolen. And then they came up with the scariest option they could at the time. They treated this YouTuber, his name's Old School MTG, they treated him like Cobra Commander, and they were sending the G.I. Joe after him, all over a fucking trading card leak that the guy didn't even mean to engage in the first place. Yes, he did film the opening of the Aftermath box, which was a leak and it was early, but they could have just asked him politely to like take it down and even ship back the product, and they would maybe just give him what he meant to buy. This was clearly an issue in the distribution, not with the YouTuber himself. He didn't mean to buy this set because it wasn't out. He just wanted some March of the Machine boxes, and it became a big deal, so much so that it escalated to Wizards of the Coast sending the Pinkertons, which is just wild. You know, the title's not like a joke. The Pinkertons, and this is news to me, are still real. You know them as the bad guys in Red Dead, but they are like a real firm. So basically, in a nutshell, there is a YouTuber, I believe his name is Old School MTG. I'll pull up his channel in just a moment. He ordered a set of boxes for Magic the Gathering called Wrath of the Machine, or March of the Machine. And what ended up happening is he got an unreleased set of boxes called March of the Machine Aftermath. And he publicized that he had it, and this was a big leak for Wizards of the Coast. And they responded as if he had just stolen the Krabby Patty secret formula. They threw the wood at him. They contacted and hired the Pinkerton firm to go to this man's house and reclaim the merchandise, claiming that it was stolen goods. So on his channel, I'll pull it up now. I believe it's Old School MTG. Yeah, Old School MTG. So on his channel in this video, he discusses exactly what happened. So the Pinkertons show up and he's describing them as heavy hitters and scary, and made his wife cry. They were apparently talking about like jail time for stolen goods, and then they confiscated the March of the Machine Aftermath boxes. Old School MTG explains that it was just a simple misunderstanding. He didn't know the products were stolen. He doesn't even think the products were stolen. He thinks what happened is somewhere along the way, the guy that he was buying them from is not a Magic guy. He says he's more of a Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh guy. Didn't realize there was a difference between March of the Machine and March of the Machine Aftermath. So when he made the purchase order for March of the Machine, he accidentally sent him Aftermath. So like a very big, honest mistake from the way it sounds. It's not like Old School MTG went in there like it was fucking Ocean's 11 and had some kind of grand heist to steal March of Madness Aftermath boxes. It was actually just a fuck up. But Wizards of the Coast took it very seriously and hired the Pinkertons, which is beyond scary. Like the Pinkertons. They actually had a lawsuit because of the reputation that they have. They had a lawsuit with Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if you guys remember this. Because they were tired of their reputation of being the bad guys. Well, here, this is a follow-up to it, but basically they didn't like that they were still being portrayed as bad guys, so they engaged in a legal battle over their portrayal. Trading card mafia. Yeah, this was such an overreaction from Wizards of the Coast. I don't know what's been going on over there, man. They have been like cracking down on everything with an iron fist, much to the reputational damage of the whole company. It's crazy. All the D&D shit, it just doesn't stop. But what's also wilder, by the way, is the thing he had access to, March of the Machine, the Aftermath, which, you know, he opened on cam. Big no-no, big leak. It's not even like it's that deep in the future. It's like 3 weeks away. So we got it 3 weeks early. It's not that big of a fucking deal. But yeah, they confiscated all the boxes and everything, intimidated him, scared him. But he's like super, super generous to them in this video. I don't know if it's out of fear or what, but what they did to him is beyond wrong. Like, this man got done dirty. And in the video, he talks about Wizards, like, very positively. I don't know if they had, like, a gun to his head or what, but he was, like, really charitable. He was like, yeah, after the Pinkertons raided my fucking house, they gave me a contact at Wizards, so I called them, and they were super nice and super apologetic, even offered a potential reimbursement with some product. I was like, when I was listening to that, I was like, man, this guy's got a heart of gold, because what they're doing is they're panicking, because what they did is quite frankly beyond disgusting. I don't even know if it's fully legal. To hire a private security firm to go reclaim material that you don't even know for sure is stolen? Like, what do you mean? Because this guy didn't fucking steal it. They apologized to him. Well, not publicly. only over the phone. Like, the personal contact, he said, was very sweet. And I imagine that they were really trying to sugarcoat him so that way they could maybe avoid a lawsuit if he decides to, like, actually look into this situation. Because, again, I don't even think what they did is legal by sicking the fucking Pinkertons on him to confiscate his shit. Why not just ignore the Pinkertons? Brother, you have not played Red Dead. Now, he didn't have to give over his goods, I don't think, because, again, I'm not, I never passed the bar, but it doesn't seem like that's actually something that they could get away with legally. But you're not going to just, like, ignore the Pinkertons. He described them as, like, heavy hitters, like, scary. God, it really does sound like a mission out of Red Dead, though. I come out and the wife's answering the door and it's the Pinkertons. Fuck, man. But yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter. For some reason, it's always Twitter that has, like, the dumbest takes, like, I don't think they sent the Pinkertons, that wouldn't make any sense. But then Wizards themselves did confirm that the Pinkertons were part of the investigation. And then, of course, they just go silent after they're confronted with, like, the reality that they were wrong. It's like, why should we believe this YouTuber? He's probably lying. Did he record the Pinkertons? But to be fair, it does sound, like, unbelievable that a trading card company, well, I mean, there are a lot more than that, but over trading card disputes, they'd hire the goddamn Pinkertons. But yeah, here's his explanation. Somebody screwed up, sent out the wrong cases to the gentleman that I bought the boxes off of because when he sold me the stuff, he said he was selling March of the Machine collector's boxes, not Aftermath. He didn't even really know what Aftermath really was, I don't think. So like I mentioned, he believes that it was just something along the distribution chain because the names are so similar that someone got confused and sent out the wrong thing. Are Pinkertons a crime family or an organization? Yeah, the line's kind of blurred if you look at the Pinkertons historically, but they are a detective agency. But they've been around for 170 years. And they've got a wild history. During their height, they had more armed men than the U.S. Army. Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. It's not a very intimidating name. I disagree, man. That name actually sounds straight out of the Wild West era of just lawless, wild shit. I don't know, you hear that name and you're like, oh wow, those are some loose cannons that don't play by the rules. I really do feel bad for the guy because he seems super wholesome and genuine. In his video, he's also just really nice to Wizards of the Coast about everything that happened, even in spite of them sending these heavy-duty lawman Pinkerton agents to his house who also mentioned jail time and scared his wife. Like, that's crossing a line when they could have reached out in other methods to talk to him and clear up this incident. But they went with the scariest option immediately to, like, intimidate and scare him and reclaim the stolen goods. Now, I don't know if the Pinkertons had a warrant to, like, search and confiscate his shit. It still, to me, feels like what happened here isn't fully legal, which is why when Old School MTG called Wizards of the Coast representative on the phone, they were so nice and apologetic. They probably don't want him to think too hard about it and consider a lawsuit, because to me, and based on the little bit of reading I've done around situations like this, it doesn't seem like this was fully within the rights of Wizards of the Coast to do. This seems like it's in a really weird legal gray area here, and a pretty fucked up situation regardless, even if it is fully legal. It was just unnecessarily aggressive. So I wanted to talk about the situation a little bit, and yeah, that's about it. So yep. I hope you've got some Pepto-Bismol nearby, because I'm about to blow your ass out with wackiness. Good golly, do I have something goofy for you today. This is like a full circle season finale of controversy, and I can't even believe what I'm about to talk about. It all goes back 2 years ago, when I made this video called I'm Mad. This video was the patient zero to an epidemic that led to multiple channels getting strikes for a very innocent video. That video was SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse mascots having a road rage incident. It was an old fake stunt that went viral a long time ago, so a ton of YouTubers had made videos joking about it and laughing at it, and all of those channels, including my own, ended up getting a strike in one giant sweeping plague. This was a couple years ago, and we all thought it was resolved, but today, it reared its ugly head yet again, with YouTube issuing yet another strike for the exact same video to another massive YouTube channel named Night Docs. Before I get into like the current situation, I'm just going to give the full lore breakdown surrounding this video because it may very well be one of the most forbidden videos on the platform at this point. The amount of people that have received a strike for this is outrageous. And just so we're all on the same page, a strike is a very big deal. A strike on YouTube is a huge, huge issue. So this is the biggest punishment YouTube can issue a creator. All over a fake road rage involving SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse. So yeah, I made a video on that road rage incident, just making jokes about it. It was 4 dudes in mascot costumes, one being SpongeBob, one being Mickey Mouse. Those were the real protagonists, and they were throwing hands with a guy on the street and beating him up just on the road while 2 guys were filming and laughing about it. And I was just making jokes about it, nothing crazy. There's nothing scary or terrifying or shocking happening. It's pretty clearly not real, I would think, but regardless, I received a full strike for it. And I was very upset. I was livid. And you could see it in the video. You could really feel the rage oozing out of every pore in my body. I was like Kratos. So I stomped my feet and I threw my temper tantrum with tears in my eyes and warm milk in my hands, and I made a big stink because there was nothing wrong with that video. It was taken down for being like disturbing content, but there's no violence in there, not real violence. There's no blood, there's no bruising because it's all fake. It's a silly, stupid stunt. You had SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse and the Dirty Boys in their mascot costume pretending to beat up a man on the street. It was just a goofy thing, not real. And it got taken down for being too disturbing to even be left up on YouTube. It was too graphic to even get an age restriction. It went so far above an age restriction that they not only took it down, they gave me a full strike because of how traumatizing it must have been for the manual reviewer to have been subjected to such horror. And I was understandably outraged, but not nearly as outraged as I'm going to be if I find out that you play Rocket League without wearing the Moist Esports Rocket League skins that are now in the shop. This isn't even like a hashtag ad like an official one, it's just we finally have our Moist Esports items in the shop, and I just wanted to at least shout it out here. They look fucking great. Here's a little quick clip of them in game. So they're in the Rocket League shop, so if you're a Rocket League player, make sure to check those out to support the squad. But anyway, I got a little carried away just immediately. So back to what we're here for. So then I started a hashtag on Twitter called AnswerUsYouTube, and through this, I ended up accidentally throwing Markiplier under the bus because he had also reacted to that same video that I was covering. And in response to me bringing that to light, Markiplier played hardball saying, "Fair's fair, where's my strike, YouTube?" And YouTube hit him with a fat strike. A very disrespectful, very petty strike for Markiplier, the first in his entire channel's history. All because of a fake road rage incident involving SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse. So Markiplier made a video talking about it as well, and then shortly thereafter, YouTube folded, and I framed their response. We have this timeless classic saying, "We're not going to die on this hill. You were right. After even further review, your video and others are back up and these strikes have been removed. This was an over-enforcement of our policies, especially with the added context commentaries you originally pointed out." Now what they're referring to in the first part of the tweet with not dying on that hill and the even further review, it's in reference to a point I made where when you appeal something, it instantly gets rejected. Like they'll reject something within minutes, even though your video is like 30 minutes, they'll reject it in 3. So somehow they're working on demon time and able to watch the entire 30-minute video and deduce that they're right, even with no possible way of finishing it in that time. And that's what happened with my video. It was instantly rejected and then said, you know what, we've reviewed it and we're standing by our decision. So I said, why are they dying on this hill? It's not even a real video. This makes no sense. So that's what they're talking about in the tweet. So basically, Markiplier went up to bat for me and saved the fucking day. That man has been my savior for that action there. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's because that chapter isn't closed. I believe that book was kaput, you know, like the dinosaurs that had gone extinct. YouTube was never going to make a big issue out of that video in particular again, the SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse road rage incident. Well, it turns out I was wrong, because today another YouTuber named Night Docs, who I'm sure many of you have watched content from before, got a strike on his channel for the exact same fucking video, which they had already deemed is fine. They agreed that it was an over-enforcement of their policy and they were in error. Yet today, they have come back and said, this is the violence and gore for Night Docs, and they struck him for it. The same fucking video. I wouldn't dare show a single frame from this video anymore. It's goddamn radioactive. I don't know what it is about it that YouTube truly hates, but every single time this comes up, it seems like they react with the most heavy hand imaginable and strike down the gavel of injustice and issue a strike just for even showing the video. I actually privated the original upload I made on this content because I was afraid something like this may happen again in the future. So I privated it just to be safe. And it turns out I was right because it looks like they're going through again and purging the platform of this SpongeBob Mickey Mouse road rage thing. It's so weird, and I feel so bad for Night Docs. It's nothing wrong with the video. There's no violence and there's no gore. Like, I don't know what they're seeing in this video that no one else on the planet is, but my god, it is crazy. It is so peculiar. I can't really wrap my head around it. Why this video in particular is the one that keeps triggering the system to issue a strike, and then a manual reviewer come in to agree with the system that the strike is legitimate. Like, there's some kind of crazy delusion going on over there. It makes no sense to me at all. Let's keep in mind, on YouTube, there is actual violence and gore. You can search it up right now. A lot of it's age-restricted. In fact, most of it is, but there still is unrestricted violence and gore on the platform, too. So even in the most severe case, if they deemed it was, like, violent or gory, which it's not, why do they go to the strike instead of, like, an age restriction, which is a lot less severe? This isn't, like, gratuitous blood and guts flying all over the place with SpongeBob eating the intestines out of his victim on the streets or anything, with Mickey Mouse beating him with a sledgehammer. It is fake road rage with these mascots in costume. Like, it is so weird. It is so silly. And YouTube is once again going down this warpath against this video in particular. I don't even know what the solution is, because we already solved the problem and they just reopened the wound and poured salt on it here, right in Night Doc's face. I don't even know what the proper protocol is. YouTube themselves agreed that they were wrong, and now they've come back and done the exact same thing again. Is it just like you need to remind them, like, hey, we've already been here, done that. We've done this whole song and dance. Like, is that what needs to happen? Like, YouTube needs the little refresher, like the little memory update to remind them that we've already done this? Or is this going to be a biannual thing where every couple of years YouTube's just going to do this shit again? Like a natural disaster. I don't know. I don't get it. I feel bad for Night Docs and anyone else that just got a strike again for this video. It's so nonsensical. I just wanted to talk about it because this blows my mind that it's flaring up again. It's so fucking wild. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya.